holy schmoly. Hi, everyone. Here we are. Get the music scroller going. Okay. Woo! I have been planning this one for so long, and it's still super unplanned and super scuff and just super, I don't know. We're just kind of winging this. Tarv, how you doing? Croissant, congrats on first. Let's see. So yeah, I've been planning on doing this for a long time, and I've had to keep delaying it because I just wanted to like have like a good, confident night to do this, where like I felt like I wouldn't have to like be sleepy or have other shit that I was doing. Honestly, the last like 3 times I've delayed this was mostly because I was just like on a really shit sleep schedule, but I've been working on fixing it this week, so we're kind of good on that. My mouth tracking's a little weird. Let me just retrack real quick. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how you got first, Croissant. 15 minutes in. Yeah, sorry for the long wait time. I was just kind of getting some stuff ready because I really am just super running off the cuff with this. I'm not super like super well planned. I was gonna do like a really, really big theatrical like Grammy Awards parody thing and have like a bunch of like guests come on and talk and stuff, but like it was a weird last month of the year, so like figured we just do different stuff. Hi Shia, how you doing? Yeah, how's everybody doing, by the way, before we get into everything? Like how we all feeling tonight? Lycan, how you doing? Oh my god. The gang's here. Oh, my mouth tracking is still weird. I need to adjust my settings. One sec. Mouth tracking. Mouth open sensitivity. How about or what if I go higher? Oh, higher is worse. I can't ever just get it right, you know? Okay, here we go. Doing okay for now? That's good. Hi, Yuri. Sorry I'm late. Finally rolled out of bed. No worries. What a coincidence. I also just rolled out of bed. Oh my god. Anyways. So yeah, let's talk about stuff this year. Did you guys have a good 2022? I know this is like really late and like the festive spirit of like 2023 is here is like way gone now. No, it sucked. Yo, you know what? Fucking honestly true. Oh my god. I have a big bottle of kombucha. Yeah, 2022 was fucking weird, let's be honest. It was different, I guess. I mean, I think a lot of stuff happened that just like changed my life for the better in a way, but like it's not to say it wasn't without its scuff, you know. Cuter, a lot of stress. No, yeah, that's basically the vibe. That's basically the vibe. Yeah, I mean, like I started doing this shit more consistently, and I got a lot of gratification out of it, you know. Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's like I met like everyone in the last year. It was around, I don't know, maybe like a week or two from now last year that I met like everyone who ended up becoming Bounce House, you know? So it's just a lot of mixed stuff, but I think overall it's a pretty positive look back, I think. I'm going to look back at the better stuff from last year than I will the negatives when I look back on things, but I think I really wish I did this closer to New Year's, but as you guys know, I'm kind of a fucking disaster. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on. So yeah, I guess as we go, just everybody let me know like what your favorite stuff from 2022 was. It doesn't have to be an album or a game or stuff, but that's what I'm like going to be talking about today. But yeah, if you guys had like music you liked or even just like a song or like obviously there were a handful of games that came out last year that did pretty well. I'll get around to those sort of towards the back end, but my main presentation is about music. Because basically, for anyone who doesn't know, I actually do a write-up every year, and I have for the last several years, about my favorite albums of every year. I usually do it on my Medium account. I'll pull up, we'll briefly look over my albums from 2021, and we will kind of quickly discuss whether or not I still feel the same about certain ones, and then we'll move on to the runner-ups, and then this year's, and then after that we'll talk a little bit about games. I don't have a lot of games since most of the good shit is coming out this year, since everything got scared off by Elden Ring, basically sweeping in and crushing everything in terms of competition. Discussing lesbian fashion sense for the game devil. Game is old world. Oh, you know what? So true. That's like sapphic fashion. Go crazy. Shout out to fucking everyone who's like into that. Shout out to my mod Millennia. She's never here anymore, but like she all about that. she's always my fashion consultant. Anyways, let's pull up my 2021 list. No, of course I need to add it as a new source. Window capture. Can I add an existing one? I don't know what's what. Let me check studio mode for something real quick. Washing stuff. Oh, it's straight up just called washing stuff, huh? Okay. Let me just add my source real quick. So we're gonna pull up my... Oh, there it is, watching stuff. Cool. So let me bring this to the bottom of my sources here. Hopefully this works. And I just put it in my PNG folder. That's awesome. Great program, OBS. Okay, cool. So we're real scuffed this year, by the way. That's how we always are. So here is my kind of list of favorites from last year. So let me move myself over as well. Actually, no, it's fine. I'll just kind of be in front of it a little bit, or we can. No, it's fine. We're good. I don't need to move myself. I have everything set up perfectly right now. Nah, fuck it. Okay. Anyway, so number 21, I put Cosmos by Neon Bunny, this fantastic Korean indie producer. I think she has an album called Stay Gold that came out in I want to say 15. I probably wrote a little bit about it. I didn't really I don't think I put the year, but basically it's really good. It's more of an exploration of like motherhood and like being an adult than Stay Gold was, but I think it was really good. I don't know if I would put it at my top 21 looking back in retrospect now, though, because it was very low-key, subdued, and nuanced. And I think I put it in because I thought it would grow on me a little bit more, but it hasn't really. I don't think I've listened to it much since it came out. It's pretty okay. Death Heaven Infinite Granite definitely got worse with time. I thought it was really good when it came out. It was a lot more post-rock. I'm going to try to keep this short, by the way, just looking over the previous year. So I'm actually going to move through this quicker. I don't think it was as good as I thought it was at number 20. Kanye Donda, we don't talk about Kanye anymore. We're just gonna go right past this one and say no. I wrote so much about this. Holy fuck. Succumb 11 or 21. I haven't listened to it as much anymore. I still listen to their first album a lot, but I still really like it. I'm not allowed to show that. No, I'm allowed to show that on Twitch. It's artistic merit. Trippy Red Trip at Night. Wait, I put this on here? You know what? I'm laughing, but I actually really like this album still. I've listened to this like quite a few times still this year. Let me actually put that on real quick. We're gonna put that in the background. The album cover does go hard. The album cover's like, he has really good album cover game. I'll give him that. Where is it? Trip at Night. Because this is the one that had Miss the Rage on it. This song. This was like really popular on TikTok, but like the version with Mario Judah was the one on TikTok where he's like, I miss the rage. I love that fucking song. Yeah, I'm honestly gonna say this was a good pick. I'm agreeing with this one. I'll keep that on the list. That's good for last year. I bet I put somewhere like, I'm shaking at the thought of typing out the words that follow. Oh god, here we go. I genuinely think that a Trippie Redd album is one of my favorite albums this year. There, I said it. Yeah, like, it's good. I haven't seen an album cover like that in a while. Yeah, no, it's like a cool album cover. It's gross and weird, but like, you know what's crazy? This looks like what AI art looks like this year, but this was actually handmade. That's so fucking funny. Moving on. Twice, Formula of Love. Yeah, I'll agree with that one. That album fucking bangs. Let's see. Baby Keem, Melodic Blue. I think I stopped listening to it at a point. Also, I'm just realizing now how similar the album cover is to the SZA album from this year. Also, I'm noticing too, this looks like a really bad Photoshop right here. This doesn't look like it was part of what was going on up here. I think they Photoshopped this cover. I never noticed that until just now. I still think Range Brothers and 16 and the other song with Kendrick went really fucking hard. What was it called? Range Brothers, Family Ties. Yeah, Family Ties is crazy hard. Zoke PvP. There's a reason we're not talking about Seiko Omori this year, even though she used to be probably my favorite artist ever. I haven't listened to it as much because it's like 20. It's like a double album. It's like 25 songs. There are songs on there that still go hard, I think, but we don't talk about Seiko Omori anymore. Halsey, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. I would say I haven't listened to it as much, but I liked it a lot when I listened to it because Nine Inch Nails did all the production, so it basically just sounds like a new Nine Inch Nails album, so I'll give it to it. Stacey Stereotype. Honestly, I'd put this higher. This album fucking owns. This is literally one of the best things to ever happen to K-pop. I know it's just 4 songs too, but that's kind of how I do things because the medium of music in Korea is more based on short form albums or EPs, mini albums with what's the word I'm looking for? Like more frequent releases. They release shorter albums more frequently. So that's why I put this here even though it's only 4 songs. Slow Down is still one of the best songs I've ever heard out of Korea. It's like one of the best pop songs ever. Converge Blood Moon. Again, I don't know how much I've revisited this compared to other albums from last year. But I remember loving it at the time because everything Converge does is pretty fucking foundationally solid. Especially Chelsea Wolfe. She's also throwing her as a guest vocalist throughout the entire album has been a really good choice. But I think I'd like to revisit this maybe even tonight and listen to this again later because it was a good one. Brockhampton Roadrunner, absolutely. I want to keep that at the top or keep that high up on this list. I would say this might even be the second best officially released Brockhampton album. I think Iridescence is honestly my favorite, which is a really hot take because I know a lot of people are really, really into the Saturation albums. And I would put Saturation 2 as my third favorite Brock album, but yeah, I think it's a really solid record, especially poignant right now. It almost feels like it would have been a better final album for them. They obviously broke up 2 months ago now, last month, and their last 2 albums were only okay, but this one feels like a really solid like closing statement for them compared to the final 2, which I still like the final 2, but spoiler alert, they're not on the list this year. What's next? Necrotaki Freak. Yeah, I would absolutely say that this is a good fit as well. Let me put that on for a second. The only way, this is the first song on it, the only way I could describe this band is that they're like the one J-rock band right now that sounds like they're actually having fun with what they're doing. So many J-rock bands right now are so self-serious and like so like, oh, check out how depressing my lyrics are. Check out how hard and emo my instrumentation is. Like it's like, listen, it's just fun. I would absolutely continue to put them this high up on the list. I think it's a fantastic album. I wrote a whole lot about it. Holy shit. It's a lengthy album. It's like 13 songs. That's a lot for a Japanese album these days, but it's a good ass record. Lil Nas Montero. Honestly, I haven't listened to it in a while, but the song stuck with me way more than like some of the other stuff I haven't listened to in a while on here. Like Lost in the Citadel and like Montero, the song itself still goes hard as shit. What was the other? Lost in the Citadel, Sun Goes Down, Life After Salem. Yeah, I thought it was like Sundown After Salem or something. Yes. Dead Right Now, That's What I Want. That's what I want. My fucking my aunt has been singing That's What I Want all year. Like it was an album that like hit everything. Scoop was really good, even though it was like the same beat as Spoil My Night by Post Malone. The Elton John song was really good. Yeah, it was a good fucking album. Every song was pretty much solid. Sun Goes Down was probably also, these were my 3 highlights. Lost in the Citadel, Sun Goes Down, Life After Salem. I would say Sun Goes Down really, really hits hard. I think it didn't get enough credit, because it's like a brutally emotional song. Sorry, Pump Me Candy Racer. Yeah, I would say this also deserves to be on the list. This high. I'm lame and don't usually listen to full albums consistently, but that one. No, I agree. Yeah, no, you're not lame. I'm just weird and still like full albums. Yeah, I'm gonna say Kyari, Candy Racer, absolutely. I want to see what's higher than this, because this album still fucking rules. I know a lot of people didn't like it because it doesn't sound like her old stuff, but that's why I like it so much. It sounds like Nakata finally getting back into his golden era, which we're going to see some of with this year's list as well. I think this began Nakata's comeback from his little future-based stint that he did with like Perfume's Future Pop, his little shitty solo album, and the songs with like Charlie XCX and all that crap. I think that this was the beginning of his new renaissance. I think everything he's been doing since this, the Capsule album, the Perfume album, fantastic. This is the return of Nakata, the return of Kyari, honestly. Great album. That deserves a spot. Punk by Young Thug. Yeah, I'll keep this one high the fuck up. Free the Boy. Also, I love the album cover. Like, how doesn't zoom in properly, but it's pretty zoomed in on screen. How amazing of an album cover is this to do like the optical illusion thing where it's like the 2 faces facing each other, but then if you look in the middle, it's like 2 dudes sitting there. It's both Young Thug with the guitar. There's like a reflecting pool in the middle. I think it's a cool album cover, but the album itself, I think, was really, really, really out of, it's not out of left field for Young Thug, but like, I think it's brilliant that he is still making weird choices with his music, despite his recent output being less weird than it used to be. I mean, Young Thug got so popular because he was weird and he did things that other rappers weren't doing, and he was making music that wasn't inherently rap. And I would say, more than rap, Punk is not a punk album, but a folk album. It's like all acoustic guitar and singing. Way more than the Beautiful Thugger Girls album was, where he basically advertised that as the thing. But like, there's some emotionally hard-hitting songs on here. There's a mid-album lull, I think, where there's like 2 random trap songs with like Travis Scott and Drake. Cut those out. This is one of his best albums to date. I would put that easily in top 6, if not top 5. Let's see what's in top 5. I counted Playboi Carti's Whole Lot of Red. I still listen to this. I listened to this one on Christmas this year. This is a Christmas album. This came out on Christmas in 2020, so I didn't count it for my 2020 list because it was so late in the year. This album fucking absolutely rips. It took a minute to warm up to because it was so different from his previous stuff, but like, oh my god, what a banger of an album. This is a punk album. This is not rap. This is punk. Let's move on. Makes You Smile, Resentment. This is not electronic. This is punk. I don't know if I would keep this in top 4, but like Hate Flood, Slow. What are some other really good songs on here? St. Joan of Arc, Worms and the Futility of Senses. Yeah. This album fucking rules. Super, super out of left field for Meishi as well, because they used to make electronic music, but this is just straight up almost like an industrial album. It's so good. I would maybe put this a little bit lower because I haven't revisited it as much and it hasn't hit as hard and it's fairly short. I would maybe swap this with the Young Thug album, honestly. Tyler Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost. Yeah, this one hits. This was my summer soundtrack this year as well. I listened to this every single time I went for a walk this year. Tyler Creator is like undisputedly the best rapper producer to ever live. And this has nothing to do with the recency bias about Kanye becoming a monster. I think Tyler and Kanye are separated by about 5 years in their career, and they are not even remotely talked about the same way, and that's unfair. Tyler has a more consistent discography as of this album than Kanye ever did. That's all I'll say about that. Fucking amazing album. That is one of the best albums ever. Okay, hold up. Let me stop laughing. Let me put this one on for a minute. Origami Angel, Gami Gang. I wouldn't say this is one of the best albums ever. I would say this is probably the best emo album of the current wave of emo music, though. Honestly, I'm gonna say I revisited this album a lot this year, so I'm gonna say I'll keep this high up. I think this album is fucking great. It feels more like a playlist than an album. My friend Josh described this to me. My mod Josh described this to me. As basically being like a playlist of emo songs, basically. It's like taking like the best like emo songs you've ever heard and throwing them all together, because it's got Midwest, it's got like Fall Out Boy kind of stuff, it's got like punky kind of stuff, like almost like a modern baseball influence as far back as like Cap and Jazz and like American football and like older emo stuff. Also like Glocamora, that also like that modern baseball, like 2010s era, like Glocamora, modern baseball. Who were some other big Tiny Moving Parts, bands like that? Like in saying, I don't have a favorite album, not a big music person, but my favorite games are Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. I've only played one of those, actually. I don't have a PlayStation to play the other two. But I will probably give Horizon a shot when it comes out on PC eventually, because I know it will. God of War, I really liked the first one. Not I like the reboot, God of War 4. So I'm definitely gonna try God of War 5 once that also comes to PC. I'm too blind to play on a PS4. Actually, neither of those are on PS4, right? I think those are both PS5, and I don't have one. So if anybody wants to buy an Xbox or trade it for a PS5, because I do want to play Final Fantasy 16. Ragnarok's amazing? Real good? Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I want to give it a shot. I mean, it won almost every game award except for the ones that Elden Ring took, because Elden Ring's sweet, baby! But yeah, Gummy Gang, I would say I've revisited it enough to say I'm justified in putting it at number 2. If I live near you, I'd let you borrow it. Aw, thank you. I'll have to fucking move to Australia. Oh yeah, Porter Robinson Nurture. Absolutely, I'd put that as my favorite album of 2021. OST Ragnarok is good, Terza. Also, hi, how you doing? I will have to at least listen to the OST a little bit before I can actually get my hands on it. Or maybe I'll just watch the video on YouTube, because, like, I assume it plays similarly to the first one, right? Okay. So yeah, Porter Robinson Nurture. I would probably consider that my favorite album of the year. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic, poignant, and emotional record. So yeah, I'd say that's a good one. Let me move myself back to the center now. There we go. Anyway, so those were my favorites from last year. Just wanted to see how they held up. I think most of them did. Maybe towards the back end there was some stuff I would probably put on instead, but I think overall I did pretty well with it. Now here is my runner-up list for this year. I'm only gonna briefly, oh my goodness, I'm drinking kombucha right now and it's fucking me up. The 2 billion probiotics in my tummy right now, not doing great. Anyways, here are my runner-ups for this year. What, was it that bad? taking notes from my musical taste. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything that sounds interesting to you, I can like send you some links in the Discord or something. But yeah, these are my runner-ups for this year. So I'll briefly run through what each of these are. Note that a handful of these are like two full rows of this are one band. So I'll only go over like the overall thing. Sounded like a demon leaving my body. Holy shit. I'm surprised the noise gate picked it up. It must have been loud. Let's not dwell on it. Let me move right up to it. Right off the top, New Jeans. Their debut EP in the top left. We're going to go top left. Can I move my mouse? No, it's not picking my mouse up. Whatever. Don't matter. So from the top left, and then we're going to move top left to right, and then we're going to go down from rows, starting from the left again. So New Jeans, their debut EP, only 4 songs. I think it's one of the best K-pop releases of the year. It's innovative. It's fantastic. It's only 4 songs, so it couldn't make my list, but it is one of the most re-listened to musical projects I've listened to all year. I'd say it's been constantly on repeat since August. It is fantastic. Their new song just came out like last week. We're listening to it right now. Also fantastic. They're really nostalgic 90s kind of electronic club type shit. We got like Jersey Club and like almost like an R&B vibe with a lot of their stuff, and then a little bit of future bass as well. So it's got a modern edge to it, but there's only also a few ethical reasons that I wouldn't really put New Jeans on my list as well. I am frankly sick of the Korean pop industry debuting new talents as young as they've been. I don't think these girls are remotely as old as they should be. I think they legally should not be allowed to debut Korean idols until they're at least 18 years old, and I'm pretty sure one of the girls from this group is like 15. I don't know what these people look like. I just listen to the album. I'm the weird K-pop fan. I don't even watch music videos. I literally just listen to albums because the music's good as fuck. That's not true. I watch Twice music videos because Twice rules. But second up, Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. I didn't like the original album, so that's why the original album cover isn't there. The deluxe version, though, all of the bonus tracks for the album were just redone versions of like 10 of the songs from the album, but done with like a live jazz band. And they're way better than the original album, and that's why I wouldn't put it on the list. Moving on, Boris Heavy Rocks 2022. It's the 3rd installation in their Heavy Rock series. Heavy Rocks 2001 is my favorite Boris album, which is a really hard thing to say because Boris, I think, have at least 50 albums now. Let me fact check that. Boris discography. Classic Japanese noise punk, sludge metal, whatever you would want to call them, drone, some of it. How many albums do they have? They have 29 independent albums, like albums that are just them. But if you combine collaborations, they've done at least, I think, 8 with Merzbow. They've done a few with Sun. They've done a few with Michio Kurihara. I would say their discography ranks in at least 40 albums. And I would say Heavy Rocks 1 is my favorite album by them. And I think Heavy Rocks 2022 is a worthy successor, more so in the way that I like it better than Heavy Rocks 2011. So that's how I feel about it. It's still, I wish I listened to it more, but it just didn't draw me back to it the way 2001 always has. And even so, some of their other more recent albums, like Dear, and even No from a couple years ago was also quite good. Boris released like 4 albums this year, I think. They also did the W album, which was like totally ambient drone music. And then they did another drone album that sounded more like Flood from like 2002, whenever that came out. That came out only like a week or two before the year ended, so I didn't really get much chance to listen to it, but it's just another kind of ambient drone album, so it didn't really draw me as much as something like Heavy Rocks did. Moving on, Capsule. Yasutaka Nakata's original band, Capsule. He's best known for his work with Kyari Pamu Pamu and Perfume, but he basically demos the sound he wants to do with those artists through Capsule albums. And this is the first Capsule album since like 2015, so this is really the first time he's done that for a while. And it's fantastic. Again, it came out the end of December, so like, or more like the middle of December, so I didn't really get much of a chance to put it in the running with everything else. And also I would consider, again, one artist per year. So, or one album per artist per year. So like, technically I would consider Perfume an Akata album, so I just didn't put Capsule there because I think the Perfume album is that good. Shocker that I like Perfume that much. Moving on to the right of that, the fifth on the top row, Metro Boomin's new album, exceptionally good. I like the first album better, and I think it's a little bit host to a lot of the problems I have with rap lately, where there's a lot of sameness because we're kind of at the tail end of the trap era. Moving on to that, Chotengoku by Seiko Omori, all the way on the top right. It was very good. It possibly could even be top 5 albums of the year material for me. But again, I didn't listen to it enough or really want to give it as much effort because of all the controversy going on with Seiko Omori in Japan right now. So she used to be one of my favorites, and I don't know, I just have a hard time listening to her after all of the controversy last year. So it's exceptionally good, though. She's still one of the best producers in the game, and I honestly think ultimately that she was in the right for everything that happened, but it's not great to talk about. Now, moving on, the entire second row is albums released by the band SAULT this year, SAULT. They've only been around for like 3 years, I think. I think their first album came out in like 2019, which is still my favorite album by them. It's called 5. Let me see, actually. Yeah. So they've released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 albums now. 12 if you count the X album that they put out this year, which is not on this list. But X is just one single, like, 20-minute reggae track. SAULT are really good, though. They're like a kind of a reggae. Actually, not much reggae. More, I would say more funk than anything. They're like very multi-genre, though. And I would say of the 3 albums that they, of the 6 albums that they put out this year, I would say the red and the green one in the middle are my favorite, 11 and Earth. Their albums usually follow a series. So like if you look on the left side here, oh Christ, Nick Cave just came on. Let me put a little SAULT on. Why not? We'll put on 5. Actually, no, we'll just put on 11 for now. They're exceptionally good. 11 follows in the footsteps of their other numbered albums, 9, 7, and 5. And then Air, and then there's also Air 2, which I think is just Air with 2 eyes. Those are more orchestral albums. Then they have the untitled albums. This newest one is called God. There were 2 other ones called, what the hell were they called? Rise and Black Is. They were also exceptionally good. They're more, I would call them more art pieces than albums. They have a lot of like spoken interludes, and they have a really good consistency. But I just really like the dirty funk stylings of the numbered albums. So I would say 11 is my favorite SAULT album this year. And again, they're fairly new. They only came out at the beginning of November, and I only found out that they all dropped because they don't exist. They're like a musical collective band thing that doesn't really exist in a way. They kind of just put music out whenever they feel like it. The producer, his name is Inflow. We found out that he's one of the members of the group. He produces for Little Sims as well, because she's also been featured on some of these albums. She's exceptionally good. We'll get to her eventually because she also just dropped an album at the end of the year. But yeah, I would say as far as the SAULT albums go, 11 is my favorite one of the batch this year. But I haven't had enough time to listen to them to really warrant putting them on the list. Thai Boy Digital, Back to Life. We're on the 3rd row now, the first 2 albums we're looking at. Thai Boy Digital, Back to Life, and Blade's Spider. I usually limit I do the 1 album per artist per year, because if an artist drops 2 albums, I honestly can only really justify picking 1 for the top list. Blade dropped an album this year with Echo 2K. That is on my list. I'm not going to spoil the position it's on, but I put that on the list. And as far as Thai Boy goes, I think it's Thai Boy's best album to date. It doesn't feel too dissimilar from a Blade album, though, and I would consider Drain Gang as a collective artist, so that's why I don't have it on the list. Moving on, the 2 in the middle in the 3rd row, Brockhampton's The Family and TM. I think both were excellent. even if The Family was a glorified Kevin solo album, I don't think either was as good as Roadrunner. And TM felt like the better album of the two, but it just kind of felt a little too weird for me, just because of the circumstances of their breakup. Moving on to the one that my eyeball is covering right now, and then the one next to it, the two Drake albums that came out this year. I know Drake is a bit of a hot topic, so that's why he's not on my actual list of the year. But I think honestly, Nevermind was like an overhated album. I think it was really good. I think there were a few duds on there, but like overall, there were some dope tracks, some fucking dope club beats. I think Beyonce did it better. I'm looking right now. I just realized that the Beyonce album isn't on here, but I would also put the Beyonce record here. So just quick note on the Beyonce album. It's better than Drake's album because it basically does the same thing but better. But I still think the Drake album was overhated because hip hop fans just wanted hip hop and not Jersey Club. I would describe Honestly Nevermind as Oops All Passion Fruit because every song sounds like Passion Fruit, which is one of Drake's best songs. And then the Her Lost album with 21 Savage. I know that there was like a big meme about it that me and Lucky Pochi might or might not be parodying soon. But I think it's a good album. I think 21 Savage carries the whole thing, and Drake kind of just raps nursery rhymes over most of the beats, but it's still pretty good. Moving on, fourth row, King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. All of the albums here, except for the final one next to my shoulder, are King Gizzard. They dropped 5 albums this year. The second one, Omnium Gatherum, easily their best album of the year, might even be top 3 best King Giz albums ever. I would put it right up with Nonagon Infinity, Murder of the Universe, Polygon Dwanaland, all that shit. This year was like their second coming of 2017. I would say I basically put these in the order that I like the albums. So like Omnium Gatherum, I would absolutely consider maybe my number 23 album of the year because I limit my list to the final 2 digits of the year. So it was 2022, so these were my top 22 albums of the year. I would say Omnium Gatherum is my 23rd best favorite album of the year. Changes also is very good, but the 3 that came out in October just felt very jam bandish and less focused, but I think Changes is the best of the 3. And then Made in Timeland, I don't like at all. It's way more jam bandy in like a bad sense, whereas Laminated Denim, which is like an anagram redone version of it, is much better. Ice Death I didn't listen to as much. Again, the one next to my shoulder here is Fosora by Bjork. I would say this is album number 24, actually. It's exceptionally good. The production is amazing. There was a bit of controversy with one of the producers, but that hasn't really affected my view on the album much. Ultimately, I think it suffers from like modern Bjork syndrome, where she just doesn't really know how to write a good hook anymore. But like there were some okay hooks on here, and again, the production, songwriting itself, the emotiveness of her lyrics, and her vocal performance were exceptional. Also, as a former child prodigy bass clarinet virtuoso, I really, really like this album's usage of bass clarinet all over it, on top of making it like a club banger album. Below that, we are now on the 5th row, all the way on the left, Unwanted by Pale Waves. Let me make this a little bigger, actually, at this point, because we're really getting down to the end here. So, Unwanted by Pale Waves, I think, is exceptionally good. I wanted this to probably be number 25. This actually almost was on the list, but I re-listened to it again last night, and there were a few duds that I kind of forgot about. There were just a few kind of acoustic songs that ruin the pace of the album, and I don't think the closer is as strong as it possibly could be. Let me actually put a little bit of that on right now. But like stuff like Jealousy, Alone, really, really good songs. Actually, just put one on. It's basically an Avril Lavigne album in a way. It's very like 2000s, late 90s, like pop punk. Like not pop punk like Blink-182 pop punk, but like Avril Lavigne, like sellout era Liz Phair type shit, which was like kind of cool. It's a good nostalgic vibe, more than their last album did. I really like it. It's just not unique enough to make my top 22, but I would probably say this is 25. Moving on, right next to it, Spirit of Ecstasy by Imperial Triumphant. There were too many good albums this year, and I really didn't know where to put this one. So it's not on my list of favorite albums this year, but I ultimately think if you're looking for the most unique thing to listen to right now off of like these runner-ups, I would say this is the one. It's death metal, or I guess you could say black metal, but it's also jazz. And it's really weird. Kenny G literally plays a saxophone solo on a death metal album. Let me just play that shit right now. Yeah, like Kenny G's, I think his nephew or something is the bassist or something. So he straight up, where is the solo? Trying to find it. Here it is. Kenny G on a black metal album. Really, really wild shit. I think their album from 2020 was called Alphaville. I think it was a little bit better. So yeah, Kenny G on a black metal album. I think moving on, let me put on Jack in the Box. Actually, I don't know where it is. I can't find it. Oh well. Anyways, moving on, J-Hope dropped his, I think, second mixtape of the year, or of his career. J-Hope from BTS. Honestly, if this is the quality of post BTS like hiatus solo projects, I'm fucking in. Even though I actually didn't like the one RM just dropped a couple weeks ago. I think this is the best BTS solo project until Jungkook does something anyway, because obviously Jungkook is gonna have the best one just because he is the most talented member probably. Probably gonna get death threats for saying that if there are any K-pop fans watching this. But yeah, I would say J-Hope had the best one, and it's literally a horrorcore album without the cringy lyrics. At least I think. I don't speak much Korean, but the stuff in English wasn't super cringe, honestly, compared to a lot of like insane clown posse bullshit. But like, it's a horrorcore album, and it's awesome. It's like the best BTS solo project to date. Moving on from here, speaking of K-pop solo albums, Nayeon's debut album. I would actually put the lead single off this, Pop. I would say this might even be one of my favorite songs of the year. This is like top 10 songs of the year. This might be maybe my favorite K-pop song of the year, because this song signaled to me the return of like pop in K-pop. It's not just like R&B anymore. Like this is the type of shit that would have come out in like 2011. It's fucking amazing. Every song on this album was good. Again, I have the one album per artist per year rule though, and because she's a member of Twice, she's gonna have to get left off because Twice is on my my list. Ivy, hi! Yeah, the Nayeon album. I really liked it, but it doesn't make my full list because of Twice. Lurking but AFK, no worries, it's no biggie. I just had another sippy. I know previously, before I delayed this stream like 6 times, I was gonna have you and a few other people on to chat about your favorite stuff of the year. If you're still down, sure, but like I'm not pushing it much because this is so off the cuff now because I've just delayed this stream so many times. Anyways, moving on. We had just talked about them because they dropped another album last year. Nekritaki, they dropped an album called Memories 2. It's right, What My Ponytail's Touching. Excellent album. It's better than the first Memories album, but it's not the most consistent, and it feels more like a compilation than anything, so didn't make the list. Bad Bunny, Un Verano Sin Ti. I don't really know how to speak Spanish, but I think it's an amazing album. This is all the way at the top right now. Sorry, I wish I could, but I do have a best album if you want to know. Yeah, let me know. By all means, let me know. Yeah, so the Bad Bunny album, I think, ultimately was too long for its own good, but it was excellent. And I don't think it held up to the 2 albums he did in 2020. Okay, moving on to, let me see. BB's Low Life. Yes, we listened to that the other night when we were doing the Gunpla stream. I need to listen to that in full because I really liked what I heard of that. Okay, moving on. Heroes by the Midnight. Didn't make the list because it is not synthwavy enough. This is a personal gripe. I like the Midnight because they sound like a fantasy version of the 80s, not the actual 80s. Monsters, I thought, was a better album. But ultimately, I think Heroes was like half a great synthwave album and then half like an 80s football anthem. And I don't really know what a football anthem is or what that means, but like it's very corny 80s anthem shit, and that's not what I really listened to the Midnight for. But I know a lot of people do, so a lot of people loved it, and that's totally cool. Just not fully my cup of tea enough to make the list, which is a shame because I think the synthwave songs on there are amazing and some of their best to date. To the right of that, Pusha T, It's Almost Dry. It's okay. It's not as hard or memorable as Daytona, but I would still say it's his second best album to date. Moving on to the right of that, Beatopia by Biba Doobie. Singles were amazing. The singles were amazing. I think Talk is one of my favorite songs of the year. Quite a few standouts on here, but a lot of filler as well. I think she suffers from filling her albums with too much acoustic, ambient bullshit. And ultimately, I think her album from 2020 was just more consistent. Moving on, my head is touching it now. My top of my ponytail. Apocalypse Save Us by Dreamcatcher. Again, another great K-pop record from the year. This one's actually a full-length album. I think this had like 15, 16 songs, which is massive for K-pop. The last, 9 songs on it, though, were just solo songs, though. And that's my favorite part of it, actually, because Dami got an Avril Lavigne-ass, pop-punk solo song, so that's enough said about that. Moving on to the other one my ponytail's touching right now, Crash by Charlie XCX. I like it a lot. It took me way too long to like, though. And I ultimately don't think it's that strong because of that. I just wish she would drop XCX World already because that's all any of the twinks that listen to her want. Moving on, the final one on the top right, Sail Away by Macross 8299. Great record. Sail Away 3, actually. It's the third Sailor Wave album, which if anybody is into future funk, they would know that the first 2 Sailor Wave albums are classics to the genre. And just internet net label music classics as a whole. So having a third one, really cool. I listened to it a lot this year. It just, again, it's kind of just future funk, so there's nothing unique or special about it. But it's just cool to see a new Sailor Wave album after all these years. Moving on to this final row of my honorable mention. Impera by Ghost. This is not a runner-up. This is just an honorable mention, and it's more of a dishonorable mention because this album fucking sucks ass. It's literally one of the cringiest albums I've ever heard in my entire life. How did they go from making extremely menacing doom metal to butt rock, arena fucking beer chugging football anthems? Really, really embarrassingly bad. Tobias Forge is kind of a hack, and they're just, I don't even like talking so negatively. I'm just really disappointed because the first 3 Ghost albums are 3 of the best albums I've ever heard in my entire life. I've seen them live a bunch of times in the early 2010s, and it's just really disappointing to see this. Moving on, the second album that we're to the right of that, Few Good Things by Saba. Care For Me is, I've been crediting that album, Saba's second album, Care For Me, as the album that got me through the quarantine and through the pandemic year. It literally, it is one of my favorite albums of all time, and there's no possible way that his next album could have lived up to it. That being said, it is very good. I would probably put it at number 26 if the numbers went that high. It's a little inconsistent. I think there's a few too many banger songs that interrupt the smoothness of the album, but it's excellent. It's just a very good record. Moving on, Odoriyoni by Polka Dot Stingray. Congratulations to Polka Dot Stingray for dropping their first good album since the first one. It's nothing that special, but it's finally sounds like they're enjoying themselves again and not trying to just like sell out to like anime music trends. So good for them. It's a pretty good record. Next to that, Smino, Love for Rent. Easily Smino's best album to date. It's really consistent. I honestly just need to listen to it more because it's fairly new. I would probably put it higher if I had listened to it a little bit more. All right, and then moving on to the last two. Little Sims, what the hell is this one called? It's called No Thank You. This only came out like the week before the year ended, so like I did not have enough time to listen to it. I've listened to it a few times. I love it. It would probably make the list if I had time. I'm probably going to consider it for my 2023 list, though. It's that fucking good. It's way more smooth and low-key than her album from 2021, I want to say. It was called Sometimes I'm Introverted. Or Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, it was called. Which was super maximalist and like crazy. It was like 20 songs, but it worked. This one's more like 10, 11 songs. Very smooth, but like quite good still. I just haven't had enough time with it to decide. And then the last runner-up album, Sakan Action, Adapt, one of the biggest powerhouse names in Japanese rock music. This one was really weird for them. It was like a borderline ambient / funk album, and I really loved it. The only reason it's not higher up on, or the only reason I say it wouldn't really make the list is because they said that there would be a second part to it. They're dropping another album called Apply, and they're going to be like a double album. So it's not really finished yet, so I can't really put it on the list. So that's basically my only issue with it. It's an otherwise fantastic album. So that is it for the runner-ups. We can move on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can move on now to my actual albums of the year. Get right to the top 22 albums of 2022. I actually made a little playlist so we can listen to the songs as they as we do the albums. So right off the bat, we've got let me load up the thing. Here we go. Number 22, Gifted by Coffee. Should I link everything like in chat or something? It might take a little extra second, but maybe I should link everything in chat. I think I'm gonna. Okay, so this is Coffee's Gifted. Coffee is a dance hall artist from Jamaica. But she has a little bit of a reggae influence as well. I believe she was the first woman to ever win the Album of the Year award for the reggae genre at the Grammys. For her 2019 EP. It was just an EP. It was called Rapture, and it was amazing. So this one's kind of a bit of a change of pace because it's got a little bit of Afrobeat to it. It's got a little bit of reggae, but it's more of an R&B album with reggae and dancehall influences to it. But it's really smooth. It's really, really just like positive in its message. And I really think she's one of the most underrated in the game right now. Like, yeah, I know she won the Grammy and stuff, but like I still don't hear enough hype about her, and I think she's just incredible. So that is number 22, Coffee, Gifted. Moving on. I am probably the world's only Nav fan. This is Demons Protected by Angels by Nav. Let me load this one up and put this in the chat as well. I legitimately feel like I'm the only Nav fan in the world. Can I move these down a little bit? Yeah, there we go. And then we can make them a little bigger. Perfect. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and now the music scroller is like not in the way. Anyways, I know a lot of people like to clown on Nav. I'm probably like the only serious Nav fan in the world. But I just really like him. I wrote an entire article on my Medium page. I can link that shit too if y'all want, or you can just like go to my Medium. It's the top pinned one. I wrote a whole article last year about how much I appreciate Nav's music and how I think he's like overhated and underrated and no one takes him seriously enough. It makes me really sad to see so many people start to respect artists after they pass away. And I really, really worry, and I would never want to speak this into existence, but like, is that what it would take for people to understand that Nav is actually like serious? Because people clown on him for like, oh, his emotions aren't genuine. He's so fake. He's blah blah. Like he's not. He's so for real. But like, yeah, I genuinely think this is an over bloated album. But like, the gems in between some of the filler tracks, as most of his albums go, are genuinely good, and I just don't think he gets enough respect that he deserves. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that one. I usually write so much about every album that I talk about. I don't really, because we're going so off the cuff, and this is such a improvised thing. I really don't have much prepared for what I'm saying about stuff, but like I think there's a lot of genuine emotion on here. I haven't been giving my favorite tracks off of each record. So off the Coffee album, I would say that Gifted, West Indies, and Pull Up are probably my fave songs off of that record. Off of this Nav album, I would probably say the intro Count on Me is excellent. Last of the Mohicans is really good. Wrong Decisions, and fucking the Lyrical Lemonade song. Not Lyrical Lemonade. What the hell was the Internet Money? The Internet Money song, Lemonade, was a bonus track on here, and I still think that song's really underrated and good. Not underrated. It didn't get its time because COVID prevented that from becoming like a summer anthem, but it was a summer anthem for real. Moving on. The Loneliest Time by Carly Rae Jepsen. I am really, really satisfied with this album. I think this is the best thing she's done since Emotion in 2015. Which to the onlooker, the average onlooker who's going to look up her discography right now, who might not know, that might only look like me just saying this is better than the last one. By all technicality, she has released 4 albums since then. She has released Emotion Side B, which I would consider, most fans would consider a full album, because that's like 9 full songs, as good as Emotion. Then she did Dedicated, and Dedicated Side B as well, which is also like a full album, even though it's kind of just considered a compilation B-side record. But like, again, fans consider those canon albums. Yeah, that's almost been an album per year. Emotion came out in 2015. Side B came out in 2016, because she always releases the B-sides 1 year after the release of the album. So we will likely get The Loneliest Time Side B in November, I believe. So Emotion Side B came out in 2016. No, she actually took a 3-year break. Dedicated came out in 2019, and then Side B came out in 2021. Or no, 2020. So there was a bit of a break, but that's still like 4 albums. This is her best album since Emotion, I think. I like it better than anything on Dedicated or Side B. I would probably put this higher, but there are a few inconsistencies. The main one being the current song that is playing right now, Anxious, is the best song in the album, and it's a fucking bonus track. Can't really say much more than that. I would say my biggest highlights on here, the opener, Surrender My Heart, is excellent. Talking to Yourself is great. Bad Thing Twice. Even some of the slower songs. I'm usually not crazy about her slower songs, but Go Find Yourself or whatever is such a great slow song. And then the closer as well, or the closer of the bonus tracks, Keep Away, is very good. I think it's just really, really emotionally poignant music, and honestly, it looks like, based on the album cover, is more of like a fall album. But like, if some of these came out in the summer and she was like still chasing the like radio pop goddess high, some of these could be fucking hit songs. Like, I know a lot of people think of her as just like, the mainstream just thinks of her as like, oh, it's the Call Me Maybe girl. Is she still making music? Like, yeah, she's still making music, and like, everything she's put out since then has been better than Call Me Maybe. Call Me Maybe isn't even the best song on the album it was on. That award would go to Curiosity, by the way. That's the best song on the Call Me Maybe album. But anyways, yeah, Carly is just like super, super underrated in the grand scheme of things. What's next? Oh, Wednesday Campanella, Neon. This one actually has some weight to it. This is the first album Wednesday Campanella has put out since they changed their singer. So they have a new singer for this album. Her name's Utaha, and I think she does an excellent job of filling in Komai's shoes. Her wordplay isn't as fun or like whimsical, but the production is just as good as ever. I actually think one of the songs from this album went like viral on like American TikTok over the summer. I don't remember which one because like I'm not a TikTok user. But like yeah, I think it was a pretty good album. I would say as far as my highlights go, I would say Himiko, Buckingham, and Moyai are probably my favorite songs on here. Yeah, if you like Japanese electronic music, you really can't go wrong with Wednesday Campanella. Their entire discography has been just a joyride from the very beginning. This is the third singer they've had, and they just are consistently one of the best electronic bands from Japan. Just an absolute powerhouse, and I think their wordplay is really innovative, particularly the stuff they did with the previous singer, Kolmai. She focused a lot more on... it was just total happenstance. The singer, so this is the third singer. The first singer was only there for the first two demo albums that they did before they finally solidified their main singer, which was the previous one. She's very much a free spirit, so she just decided to go her own way, and I think she lives in like India or something now. She's kind of just like on some like really like hippy dippy kind of fucking like finding myself soul searching journey right now, which is really cool. I'm happy for her. I hope she at least does some solo music because her wordplay is fantastic. She focused a lot more on the way that her voice sounded when producing certain syllables and like the way nonsense words went together rather than completing formative sentences in her lyrics. She was very, very innovative in that kind of way. Not a lot of other singers do that kind of stuff. It was almost like scatting, but it still had meaning. Like the words still related to the topic of the song. Most of their songs are about either historical or mythological figures. So she'd have a whole song. One of my favorite Wednesday Campanella songs is called Aladdin. It's obviously about the myth of Aladdin. And like a lot of the lyrics in the song are just total nonsense, but she just rhymes words that sound all right with each other. Like, it doesn't make sense what she's singing about, but you'll hear words like Agrabah and genie and stuff like that. It's really, really fascinating. The new singer tries to continue that and continue in that tradition, and I think she does an excellent job, as excellent of a job as anyone could. And that's the thing, too, about Wednesday Campanella. They've always been a weird-looking band. Like, if you look at the album cover here, like, she's a weird-looking girl. Because she's super into, like, more like innovating the future trends of, like, Harajuku and, like, that whole fashion scene. You know, she's a real weirdo. They always are. That's basically how they find their singers. They just find people who are into fashion and music in like the Harajuku scene. And that's where she comes from. And she just dresses like that on the daily. She's a real weirdo, and I love that for her. Did I link this one in chat? I believe I did. All right, moving on to the next one, number 18. Oh, so this is The Forever Story by Jid. I don't know if I have many other rap albums on the list. I don't think I do. I don't think I really have many other rap albums on here. This is fucking exceptional. This might be, unless I'm forgetting something higher up, this might be the best rap album of the year, in my opinion. Jid took like, I don't know how to do basic math. His last album came out in 2018. So it's been about 4 or 5 years maybe. Yeah, like 4 years. This came out like the tail end of the year, maybe in like October, if I want to guess. This is beyond excellent. This was worth every second of the wait. It is a front-to-back, cohesive narrative album with some of the most incredible production, some of the most incredible wordplay, some of the most incredible like flow. You know, even just the way he's rapping here, just like, you know, this is the hook here, but once he gets rapping again, a lot of people took to him when he first came on the scene in like 2017 off that Denzel Curry album, because he sounded like Kendrick, but he has a different flow and a different like style of wordplay. But yeah, I would say this is the best rap album of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and there aren't other ones higher on the list. It's just absolutely astoundingly good. I would say the best songs on here, Crack Sandwich, the one that's on right now, Cody Blue 31, and Louder 2 are probably my favorite records on this album. There's really not much more I can say about it. It's just that exceptionally good. Moving on. Oh, this one's good. This is Once Twice Melody by Beach House. This one needs a little bit of prep. So this is technically a 2021 album, but it's also a 2022 album. They released this album in 4 separate parts, from November of 2021 to February of 2022, when it became the final full 4-disc album. So yeah, this is a 4-side record, and it I don't want to say it's the best Beach House album to date, because that's not true, because I still think that Depression Cherry is like the best dream pop album ever made, let alone the best Beach House album. And I also like Bloom, but I would say this breaks top 3 territory for the band. And this took a while for them to make as well. They also haven't dropped an album since 2018, actually before JID, actually. So yeah, this was a while in the wait. And it covers a lot of ground for them. There's almost some indie rock and like shoegaze territory as opposed to their usual dream pop sound. But ultimately, I think that this is, without a doubt, one of their best and strongest collections of material. Especially the first disc and the 3rd disc in particular have some really, really strong points. This song in particular is the 2nd song off of the 1st disc of the record. So if you're looking for like something really soft and dreamy and just like spacey and word that starts with H, hypnotic. If you're looking for something hypnotic to just space out to, not just this album, but Beach House's entire discography in general is worth spacing out to. Perfect studying music, because their vocals are very low in the mix. It's a duo, very queer-coded couple who aren't actually a couple. So their voices blend with each other really well, really low in the mix, really reverbed out, and just really hypnotic shit to listen to. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. Like, Beach House is pretty well regarded as like the greatest dream pop band since like the Cocteau Twins. Frankly, I would say better, because the Cocteau Twins honestly only had like 3 good albums. Yeah, so that's Beach House. Moving on is, this is a heavy one. This is The Spellbound. This is their self-titled debut album. I waited a very long time for this one. So some history here. This is a supergroup, Japanese supergroup. You could probably call it electronic rock in a way. These guys came out of 2 of my favorite Japanese bands. One called The Novembers, who are like kind of a shoegaze, post-hardcore kind of combination band. They're called The Novembers. They have this really awesome album called Hallelujah, and another more recent one called Angels that are just excellent. So it's the singer from The Novembers. His name's Yusuke Kobayashi. As well as, I have to remember his first name, actually. Something Nakano. Yasuyuki Nakano, I want to say. Yeah, Masayuki Nakano, from a band called Boom Boom Satellites, who if anybody kind of watches like some anime stuff from like the mid 2010s, you might have heard them from oh, what did they do? They were in Gundam Unicorn. They did a song for what was that really shitty Studio Trigger anime that nobody liked? Kisniver. They did the Kisniver song. And they also had one of their older songs before they became like an anime rock band. They had a song in Batman: The Dark Knight, like not even the Japanese version. There's just straight up a scene where Batman beats the shit out of Joker in like a club, and like there's an old Boom Boom Satellite song playing in the background as Batman just beats the fucking shit out of the Joker. So this is their solo group because Boom Boom Satellites broke up or more disbanded a couple years ago because the lead singer passed away. And I've been waiting a while because I've been a fan of them for a very, very long time. It was just a really sour, not sour, just a really, sour is a horrible word to use there. Really bitter and sad ending to such an amazing legacy and an amazing band, because their last two albums were, they were like really emotionally provoking, their final two albums, because he wrote them knowing that he was going to die. And it was really sad, and a lot of that spirit and like melancholy, but also that like striving for a better future exists in the Spellbound. And I think they are one of, if not the most underrated band in Japan right now. And this debut album just goes and proves that. I think they are super, super, what's the word I'm looking for? Just excellent. Really catchy shit. If you like old Muse, Buse, I don't know what the fuck Buse is. If you like old Muse, like Supermassive Black Hole era, it's less like butt rocky than that, but I think you'd find a lot of solace in this band for having an electronic rock sound that's as maximalist as old Muse used to be. I'm not a big Muse fan, I won't lie, but I know some people are and have compared this to them, and I can totally see it. For me, though, I think it sounds like a proper evolution of Boom Boom Satellites, with Yusuke Kobayashi like taking on Michiyuki's legacy. So it's a really, really great record. Moving on. Oh my god, this is also just like one of the best songs. This one came out in 2021, but like this was my favorite song of 2021. Hands down, this was my number one favorite song of the year. And this album is still ranks pretty highly for 2022 albums. Moving on. Oh, here we go. So I was talking about how I didn't want to include Nyan's solo album on the proper list this year, even though it was deserving of it, because I only do one album per artist per year, and Nyan is a member of Twice. Between 1 and 2 by Twice is unbelievably good. Let me link this one as well in chat. This one is one of the best K-pop albums. No, this I think this is the highest ranking K-pop album of the year on this list. This might even be my favorite Twice album. I think the single, Talk That Talk, it's very good. It's not my favorite Twice single, but I think it's my favorite collection of Twice B-sides. I think it's about 6 or 7 songs long, and every single one of them is amazing. I gave up on Twice in 2019 because I really didn't, and this is a really hot take because these are some of people's like favorite Twice records, but like Fancy You and what was the other one that year? Feel Special. I didn't like those albums at all. I didn't like the B-sides. I didn't really like the singles. So I gave up on Twice for a little bit, and then last year and the year before that, they came out with those 2 albums. What was the first one called? I forget already. What was the Twice album? From Eyes Wide Open. They did Eyes Wide Open, and then they did Formula of Love. Those albums completely drew me back into the fandom. I think they are unbelievably good. But yeah, I would agree with you, Ivy. I think Talk That Talk, Queen of Hearts, and Trouble and Basics and Brave and Gone and When We Were Kids. Oh my god, the whole album is fucking good. But yeah, I would say Talk That Talk, Queen of Hearts, and Trouble are my favorite. No, Basics as well are my favorite songs off this record. As far as recommendations go. Oh, I did not do recommendations for the last album. So off of the Spellbound album, Hajimari, Our Melody, and Nani Mokamo are probably my favorite songs on the record. So yeah, those we'll have to remember to do song recommendations as we keep moving on. But yeah, I think this is the best Twice album maybe ever. Again, I still think they have better singles that I like more. Obviously, like Signal and like Ooh Ah are like two of my favorite songs ever. And I think those are the two best Twice singles. But like Talk That Talk is pretty fucking good, and the B-sides are amazing. So yeah, those are my favorites here. Moving on is Obsidian by Northlane. I usually do not subscribe to this style of music much, but I think this band and this album are pretty special. So this is like, I want to say like the 6th album by this Australian metalcore band called Northlane, or I guess you could call them like progressive metal or like gent or whatever. I only really got into the genre earlier this year because I started listening to like a shitload of Periphery, who are like one of my favorite bands right now. But looking for more stuff that sounded like them, Northlane is like the only other band I've found that even compares to how excellent they are. And I believe Nolly, the bassist from Periphery, has even produced this album. Nolly also produced the fucking Storm That Is Approaching song, the Nero song from Devil May Cry 5. I know a lot of people really like that. This album is produced by the same guy who produced that song and wrote that song. If you're looking for something kind of in a similar vibe. But this album has a lot of electronic elements to it. Coco! Poor Coco is just fucking haunted and tortured by that song. Anyways. So yeah, this album has a lot less, oh, we got a Gal report. Yep, I just hydrated and we are sitting up perfectly straight, I promise. No shrimping here. Anyways, so this album is less metal than their previous stuff. I know he's screaming right now in the background, but there's less screaming. There's a lot of clean singing on here, and it's good, clean singing. He's got a really good voice. They've been with this singer for, I think, 3 years, or 3 albums now. And I frankly like it better than the old stuff I've heard. Even though the second album, Singularity, is very fucking good. Let me yawn real quick. I gotta, like, pop my ear. Oh my god, my right ear won't pop. Whatever. But yeah, so like this album, it's got a lot of electronic elements to it, but I think it does it in a way that a lot of like metal bands that do the whole like, hey, this is our new album with electronic influence on it. A lot of those albums usually suck ass. I think that this album does it really well because it's got this kind of Mick Gordon sound to it, like the Doom soundtracks, but it's also taken a lot of inspiration from like club music, including like I don't know what subgenre exactly I'm looking for, but there's a lot of like down tempo stuff on here as well. Christ, my right ear just will not pop. It's a lot of fun right now. But yeah, I would say highlights from this album. The currently playing Echo Chamber is really good. Is This a Test? And I want to say there's a song called Nova. It's either Nova or Zen. What is it? Yeah, this one. This is the down-tempo one I was talking about. Play Nion's song again. That'll do it, right? There we go. It popped. Anyways. So yeah, that would be the number 14 album of the year. Number 13. Oh, this is a good one. This is Expert in a Dying Field by the Beths. This is a, what the hell is the word for, like, you say Australian for people from Australia. What the hell is the word for New Zealand? Yeah, I just gave Rex, for the last album. Echo Chamber, Is This a Test, and Nova are probably my favorites off of it. I'll actually make a playlist of my recs as well, and I'll post it at the end of this. So this is... I've actually been hearing this this album on the radio a little bit lately. This is a New Zealand band from New Zealand called the Beths. Very, very good indie rock. I would almost call it twee pop. I know it's not exactly in the same lane as like some like classic like twee pop bands like fucking... I'm totally at a loss here because I don't listen to much twee pop compared to like my friends. Or is anybody from Mecca you're here can like ring my bell on the fucking like the classic twee pop bands? But like I would say the Beths is very in line with like some twee pop stuff like Tiger Trap. Tiger Trap's the one I was thinking of. Tiger Trap and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. There's another twee pop band I've kind of dabbled in a little bit, but it's not my full thing. But I think this album in particular is quite good. It's really easy to listen to, like indie rock kind of music. Super soft vocals, really good hooks, really good harmonies. Good energy. It's a little low key. It's a little high key. It's kind of all over the place. This song in particular is called Best Left. One of my favorites the entire year. Great hook. Great hook. Really good guitar work on this. I love the tremolo effect on the guitar on this. Just a lot of good stuff on here. Really pleasant shit to listen to. So if you're looking for a good soft indie rock band to listen to, the Beths, Expert in a Dying Field, my number 13 favorite of the year. My favorite songs on here, I would say Knees Deep, Your Side, and Best Left are my favorite songs on this. All right, moving on. SOS by SZA. I know I've been talking a lot about albums that, like, in my runner-ups came out too close to the end of the year. So I couldn't put them on my list, but a lot of that was just the fact that they were kind of albums that came out of nowhere or I didn't expect to come out and I didn't give enough time to. I have been waiting for this fucking SZA album for 5 years. Control came out over 5 years ago, almost 6 now, because it came out in like April 2017. Almost 6 years. I've been waiting so long for this album, and I love it. I love every single thing about this album. I was so worried when she announced it was coming out and it was going to be 23 songs long. Every single song on here is perfect. This is worth the wait. It's very cold. It's not as much of a warm summer banger album as Control was. It's still just as introverted and like emotional though. And she still surprises. She still surprises, you know? Even this song, it's a really, really fucking weird song where she talks about wanting to like kill her ex in like a movie way. It's really weird stuff, but like, I mean, SZA is regarded as like the greatest thing in modern R&B for a reason. And she pulls a lot of left field moves here as well. I still think Good Days is a really weird song to do as a modern R&B artist, especially the biggest, to do like a dream pop song. Another really weird one on here is F2F, which is literally a pop punk song. Just out of nowhere, just straight up, again, that 2000s Avril sound. Just in the middle of all these trap beats and shit. Just like fucking pop punk Avril-ass song. So yeah, I would say from this record, I would say Kill Bill, F2F, Nobody Gets Me, and Good Days are my favorite songs on here. Yes, really like Avril. So moving on, I don't think there's a Spotify link for this one, which is a shame. Let me check, because I know he actually made a statement like a year or two ago that he wouldn't put his music on Spotify. Yeah, it's not on there. Okay. Let me see if I can find a YouTube link for it then. Because I will get to what this next album is in just a second, but it is unbelievably special. Let me see. Christ, it is like barely on YouTube either. there's a single song we can get at the very least. So, God, it's so Avril. So, this is Softly by Tatsuro Yamashita, one of the most legendary and iconic musicians to ever come out of Japan. A lot of people call him the Brian Wilson of Japan. He is very much Japan's answer to the Beach Boys. He has been doing this shit since the 70s. And somehow, almost 50 years later, he still is managing to drop some of the best music I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. Oh my god, I'm like actually getting emotional thinking about this album and like hearing this song right now. Tatsuro Yamashita is, if you've ever heard of the city pop genre, which has gotten fairly popular lately, like Plastic Love, I'm sure a lot of people know Plastic Love. This guy wrote Plastic Love. That's his wife. His wife is the singer of that song. If you're looking for feel-good music this year, this is the album. I so sincerely wish that I could, yeah, he wrote Plastic Love, and Maria Takeuchi is his wife. Let me see if I can at least find this song as well. Yeah. So, can I find it, please? I think this should be it. This song was actually in a movie called Mirai no Mirai. I believe this will be the theme song. Let me cross check that. Hold up. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's the same song. Awesome. But yeah, Tatsuro Yamashita is one of the most incredible artists of all time, I would say. Let me even look. How far back has he been doing this? He's been doing this since 1975, so it's been almost 50 years, and he just dropped, this is his first album since 2011, so it's been 11 years since his last album. And with that long of a gap, he has still managed to drop one of the most, like, incredible albums I've ever heard, just a defining work for modern city pop, which doesn't really exist much. You know, he's well known for like singles from like the 80s, Right on Time from 1980. No, from 1979 that song came out. My favorite album of his, it's called For You. It came out in 1982. And I would consider this his second best album. Up with that. It's so unbelievably good. Really, really good stuff. There were even talks about how like people apparently got him together with Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys in the 90s in a room together in Japan, and people were like, you two need to make an album together, and Brian Wilson was like, yeah, he's got to come to America to do that though, and Tatsuro Yamashita was like, I'm not leaving Japan. So there's a universe where we very possibly could have had a fucking Beach Boys album with Tatsuro Yamashita, which would have been the best thing of all time. Especially because Brian Wilson had like a resurgence in the 90s. His solo album, his self-titled solo album from the 90s was fucking amazing. Underrated stuff. I'm like a big Beach Boys historian, but yeah. So I would say from this album, Mirai's Theme, Cheer Up the Summer, and there's another song called Reborn. It's the closing song. So good. I believe Reborn actually is a duet with Maria Takeuchi. It's like a love song that they sing together. It is beautiful. So yeah, like, Tatsuro Yamashita fucking put out his first song, or his first album in literally, like, 11 years. Oh my god, I'm looking at the sales right now. It sold as much as any of his other albums did. On the Street Corner sold 200,000. This one sold 200,000. I'm actually surprised that this was also a commercial success. I have the vinyl of this as well. I have this on vinyl. I love this album so much. I pre-ordered it because I was that excited for it, because I loved the singles leading up to it. So that is my number 11 album. Moving on. Okay. Joyce Manor. Here's the first punk album of the of my list. I'm a crazy big Joyce Manor fan. This is 40 Ounces to Fresno by Joyce Manor. Let me get that. It's a fun pun, obviously on the Sublime song. But But yeah, this is 40 Ounces to Fresno by Joyce Manor, fantastic punk band from California. This is their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is their 6th album if you don't include Collection and Songs from Northern Torrents, which were like their compilation albums, as well as like their numerous demo tapes from before the first album. Joyce Manor had this huge grip on the punk and emo scene of like the early 2010s. Their first album, their self-titled album in particular, which got remastered in 2021, as well as their 2014 album Never Hungover Again, are just absolute landmark albums for modern punk music. This might be their best album since 2014. It's so consistent. I think a thing of note about Joyce Manor that's worth mentioning as well is that if you are looking for something like a big discography to get into that isn't that daunting, they're a good band to get into because all of their albums clock in at just under 20 minutes. I constantly joke about how we wait 2 years for 20 minutes of new Joyce Manor music every 2 years because their albums are just that short. I think their second album was actually only like 12 minutes, 13 minutes, their second album. But that doesn't discredit the fact that the songs themselves are excellent, even if they're only, under a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. They've had a habit of getting a bit softer with their more recent output, and this album kind of picks up the pace again a little bit. I don't expect them to make something raw and hard like their old albums used to be, but it still is as much as I could ask of them to make an album this good. So I would say the best songs off of this album are Never Be the Same Again, Don't Try, and Dance With Me. Are probably my favorite ones on here. Moving on, Christ, every album we've done so far, and this is a testament to how short their songs are. Every album we've listened to, or every song we've done for each album, we've barely made it through a single song. We are on the 3rd song talking about this band, and I've probably talked less about this band than anything else too. That's how short these fucking albums are. But yeah, so excellent record. Moving on, here's one that might mean something to some people. This is Bad Mode by Utada Hikaru. A lot of people know about her. Simple and Clean, Sanctuary, the Kingdom Hearts songs. This is the album that has the song from Kingdom Hearts 3 on it. That being said, that is probably the worst song on the album. This album is unbelievably good. This is called Bad Mode. It came out in January, and I'm so surprised how well it's held up since then. The production is really future forward on this record. I think it takes her usual idea of like innovating, and she works with a lot of new producers on here. There is a producer on here, I believe, named Floating Points, as well as A.G. Cook from PC Music, who's worked with like Charlie XCX and all sorts of big names like that in the West. As well as, like Sophie as well. A.G. Cook has worked with Sophie. They're like the head producers on this album, and they don't take the wheel. They just let Utada do her thing, while at the same time still letting the production be futuristic and dreamy. It's not only that good, I would say this might even be her 2nd or 3rd best album to date. The song playing right now sounds like pretty standard Utada affair. But when we give it a second, I believe the interlude is coming up on this song. No, it's after the... Here. Just listen to this real quick. I'm gonna just mute my microphone. Just get a load of this. This is a fucking Utada album. This album is full of really gorgeous ambient transitions. I believe Floating Points is the producer who did a lot of that. Not just that, the production itself, especially beyond this first song, is very futuristic. I'll just kind of skip through a little bit. This has the songs from the Evangelion movies that came out last year as well. So I know a lot of people have heard those as well. She did the songs from the Rebuild 3.0, 3.1, or whatever the fuck the Evangelion movies were called. And the production is like super synth heavy, but like they're really melty, futuristic synths. Even on the songs from Evangelion, you know? And the hooks are great. It's kind of bilingual as you'd expect of her. But it's just unbelievable. But the real crowning achievement of this album is the final song, Somewhere Near Marseille. Marseille. Somewhere Near Marseille. I believe, I don't know how to fucking speak French. The final song on the album is a 10-minute long, a 12-minute long ambient acid track. This synth thing going on in the background, the boom boom boo doo, the boom boom boo doo, it goes through the filters that they process the track with for 12 minutes. This entire track, it's so hypnotic. This is literally one of the best songs of the entire year. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about this album. But yeah, so I would say Bad Mode, fucking Christ, I don't even know. I would say Bad Mode, One Last Kiss, and Somewhere Near Marseille are my favorite songs off this record. God, yeah, I'm just gonna like skip ahead. This is like 10 minutes into the song, and it's still going on with this like hypnotic acid synth. It's for her, of all people, the biggest singer in Japanese music history, to do a song like this on her big, risky new album. Unfucking believable. She's on another level. All right, moving on to, let me pull up the next album on Spotify so I can get us a link. Actually, it's pretty, I think I can get it right here. Oh my god, this album is so good, fuck. I'm like hypnotized in this song already. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. No, literally the synth work is unreal. Okay, I honestly want to put this album higher. I love it that much now that I'm like revisiting it again just in the moment. Oh my god, it's so good. She's on another level. She's really on another level. Wow. Okay, anyways, we have to move on. Number 8 is Prince Daddy and the Hyenas' self-titled album. I absolutely adore this album. It took me a while to get into, but like in a good way, because it's just so jam-packed full of narrative, lyrics, and it kind of continues off of the sort of loose story of their previous album, Cosmic Thrill Seekers, which I still think is a better album than this, but this is still a hell of a statement for a self-titled album, especially to not be the first album by a band, to be like the third and be self-titled. Good fucking work. It's punk, but it's got a lot more nuance than their old stuff has been. A lot of their old stuff, a lot of people have a hard time getting into because the singer's voice has been notably gritty. Let me even just play real quick off of... This is what the first song on their last album sounds like. This is the way this guy sings on their old stuff. Really gritty, vocal fry, out of key. But I still love that album. That's like one of my favorite albums ever. I actually got the vinyl for it for Christmas. But the new album, his voice kind of comes into its own a little bit more. It's a little bit, actually quite a bit more on key. There's less vocal fry. He just kind of sings almost like a Kurt Cobain in a way. on this new one. So it's got some elements of grunge. It's got even some Beach Boys-esque harmony. I know I've been talking about the Beach Boys a lot tonight, but it's got a little bit of Beach Boys in it. A lot of good like vocal harmonies, a lot of good songwriting. There's, again, kind of like the last album, there's like a 9-minute track, really heart-wrenching, called Black Mold, by the end of the record. Really, really good stuff on here. If you're into punk, this is without a doubt the number one album you can't miss this year. This is the punk album of the year. They're truly, truly the best band in the scene right now, who are like active and still fairly new. I would say my biggest highlights on here is Jesus fucking Christ, El Dorado, and Shoelaces. Just excellent, excellent punk music. Beach Boys are a classic. It's understandable. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it is funny just how influential the Beach Boys are on like modern like indie and punk music. Like, kids just somehow go through that phase in like their late teens where they discover like the Beach Boys and like just how good their like lo-fi eras were, like the Smiley Smile and like the Wild Honey eras of the Beach Boys, like post Pet Sounds stuff. Like, there's some dope shit there that a lot of kids have found and taken influence. I'm one of them, you know? It's really cool how far Brian Wilson's influence has gone, way more than the fucking Beatles ever went, as far as like influence on modern music. The Beatles do not have a grip on modern music. They just do not. They're great. You know, I'm not going to be the fucking edgelord who's like, the Beatles suck, even though a lot of their early stuff does. But, you know, the Beach Boys beat them out in influence, for sure. Except for, like, production. Obviously a lot of the Phil Spector, like, wall of sound and usage of, like, the Neumann U47 microphone. We don't need to get into all that Abbey Road bullshit, but, like, yeah, good stuff. Moving on, what the hell is my next album? Let me see if I can grab the album link. Here it is for the next album. If we want to talk classic Japanese music, Deer and Grey. Probably, if anyone here had an emo or goth phase or like just like a heavy Japanese music phase, you have probably come across this band before. And I really, really need to hammer the point home that they are better than they've ever been. I know that like Withering to Death and Vulgar are like classic albums, and even Gauze are like classic Japanese like heavy metal and rock albums. They're not even the best Deer and Grey albums. Their best music has come out in the 2010s, and they're still on that track. You know, I think Arky is their best album to date, but their new album Phalaris is just as good as any of their old stuff. This came out, I believe this is their first album since 2018. Yeah, the Insulated World came out in 2018. So this also has been about a 4 or 5 year wait. And if you're looking for heavy metal Japanese music, this is the one to go to. This is more heavy than basically anything they've done in a while. Their last album, The Insulated World, was quite heavy, but this one in particular brings in elements of like black metal, but it also strips things back. Like this song playing right now, Oboro, is almost more like their older sound. It's kind of got this electronic backing to it, but it's still progressive. It's got these good big hooks, light screaming. Actually, I don't think there's any screaming on this song. But there is quite a bit on the album. So if that's something you're not super into, I would still say give it a try. But you know, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I personally never agree with that, but I understand it. I would say the strongest moments on this album are just like its subtlety and the callbacks that it has to elements of those like post 2007 albums of theirs, like everything after Ouroboros, Dumb Spear Sparrow, Arky, and even the Insulated World. It calls back to basically their entire legacy as a post Visual K band in Japan. in the best of ways. And again, there are songs. There's a song on here called "The Perfume of Sins" that is basically a black metal song, and I've never heard them do anything like that, and it's fantastic. So I would say, as far as the best songs to look out for on here, I would say this one, Aboro, The Perfume of Sins, and 13 as well. Just songs 2, 3, and 4. Amazing. The first song is a little hard to get into as well, because it's a 10-minute opener, which is they're not strangers to that. They've done that before. I think one of their best songs, Venushka, is about 9 minutes long, and that was off of Ouroboros, which is one of their other better records. So it's a little daunting to get into when the first song is like 10 minutes long, but if you just want to get into the meat of the album, Aboro, Perfume of Sins, and 13 are excellent songs that are worth giving a shot. Moving on. This is my number 6 favorite album of the year. And this song that's about to play is my favorite song of the entire year. This is, I actually forgot, I was saying Jid had the best rap album of the year. I kind of did forget about this. This is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the double album, Mr. Morale, and then the second album is the Big Steppers, or reverse that, but I don't know why he named it like that. But this is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people did not fuck with this album when it came out, which is really upsetting because I think people were just looking for a pop hit. Me, I obviously, I appreciate music more for music's sake rather than just what's going to play on the radio. This album is incredible. I don't want to get too into it, but like I cried the first time I listened to this song. This part of it that's playing right now is kind of the intro, but coming up in just maybe 10, 20 seconds, this like Radiohead drum beat and like synth pad, string pad like comes in. Let me even wait for it to play. I'm just going to give it a second. It's worth it. The piano, it's very Radiohead, which is really weird for someone like Kendrick to do. But I legitimately cried the first time I heard this song. I think I was in a really it does give me goosebumps, and the song just progresses from here. I genuinely cried the first time I heard this. I had gotten home from a really shitty late night at work. I worked graveyard shifts when this album came out. And I didn't want to. I used to listen to music at work on this shitty little speaker I would take with me. I was a shopper, like an online shopper, who would work the night shift and shop the orders for the morning. So I would just walk through the aisles listening to music on my little speaker. I didn't want to listen to this album because I knew it was going to be big because it's fucking Kendrick. So I waited all night to get home at like 4 a.m, and I put this on my speakers, and I went into a Final Fantasy dungeon just to like decompress. Final Fantasy 14. I remember I was in Doma Castle. And I was healing, and I had to stop. I like put my fucking controller down and just kind of burst into tears a little bit just because I was so fucking depressed, and I think I just needed something just profoundly musical. And this came so out of left field. I know Kendrick has never been a stranger to like doing incredible live instrumentation in his music before. The lyrics didn't even go through my head besides the hook of I Grieve Different, but like, again, after reading the lyrics too, it just hit even harder. Oh my god, listen to the fucking violins here. Oh my god, man. Yeah, like, I know Kendrick has done like innovative and like profound works of art in the past, and I still think To Pimp a Butterfly is his best album. But this album needed more respect. Holy fucking shit, what an opener. Um, it just it broke me down the first time I heard it. I'm getting emotional even thinking about that time right now. It still hits me hard how good of a song it is, and I know it wasn't just the moment. It was just that good of a song. But there are some really profound things on this album, and there's some stuff that really upsets me about the controversy around it as well, because there was a controversy about a song where he talks about his transgender uncle, and there was basically the whole song he dead names his uncle, who is like FTM trans, and he dead names and misgenders him the whole beginning of the song until the ending, where the revelation is like, okay, like trans rights, trans people are still people. This was just a story about the lesson I learned, and people got upset at him over that. And I thought that was really fucked up, because it's him talking, and he used the F slur that I like to use because I reclaimed it. And I think there was a lot of just really, really misguided righteousness over the way people were talking about that song in particular, because how fucking dare anybody tell him that he's not allowed to recount the words that have been used to hurt his family members, to tell a profound story about how trans rights are human rights. You know what I mean? Like, it's really fucked up, the controversy that surrounded it, and it opened up a lot of wider discussions that I don't really have a place to talk about based on, you know, certain things, but like, you know, I at least have the right to at least stand up for the fact that, like, no, I think he was 100% in his right to speak on what he had been speaking about. So for me, the highlights of this album are United in Grief, which is the one that we just listened to. There's another song called We Cry Together, and the one I was just talking about his trans uncle, called Auntie Diaries. And We Cry Together, I'll put that on for another second, these are barely rap songs, by the way. Like, obviously we just listened to United in Grief, which is a rap song, but it had that breakbeat drum thing and like the Radiohead like pianos. This one though, We Cry Together, this is not a rap song. This song is just an argument over a beat. With Taylor Page, who is I believe a comedian. Let me see. An actress. She's an actress. This song is straight up just them arguing, and it's a poignant, like, social, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not observation, like, it's like a social commentary on, like, the toxicity of, like, argumentative relationships, and how, like, literally this whole song is just them arguing. It's really good. And it just goes back and forth, but it sounds so realistic. It's actually, I don't like to listen to this song in the car for obvious reasons, because people are gonna hear it and be like, oh my god, what's going on in there? And like the piano is like super dissonant piano, so like it just like, it adds to this like tense feeling. And this is like a 6-minute long song of this argument, and then the ending is them, the ending is them just still being like, fuck you, and then it's just like, ooh, I'm gonna fuck you. Like they make up with sex, which there were a lot of people on Twitter who were like, oh, this song's just like my relationship, and a lot of people were just like, well, if your relationship is like that, that's like, the point of this is to say, hey, maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe you should find someone else, because that's toxic as fuck. But yeah, I would say that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is, oh my god, I'm looking now. It is not my favorite rap album of the year. There's one more rap album. I forgot. I completely forgot. And I'm still in full confidence in my decision. So moving on though. People are gonna kill me for putting this over Kendrick. Blade and Echo 2K's collaborative album Crest is fucking ridiculously good. This is the first time they've ever released an official collaboration album with each other. The two core members of Drain Gang, Blade and Echo 2K. They've released a handful of albums that they've been on in the past with each other, but they've also involved Thai Boy Digital and like a few other members of Drain Gang on there. For instance, Trash Island and DNG were the other ones, but this is the first album that they've ever done that's just the two of them. And it is ridiculously good. It's so dreamy. It captures everything that's so perfect about both of their discographies. Echo's like really whiny, like falsetto, high-pitched feminine voice with Blade's usual like naturally auto-tuned sounding like moaning over the beats. And like the second song on here is like a 9-minute epic of like 5 different songs kind of put together in this like cohesive, cold narrative landscape. It's really good. If you've never listened to anything by Drain Gang before, this is without a doubt a great intro to their music. I don't even know like much else of what to say about this because it requires so much context to get into like who Drain Gang and all them really are, but I think I wrote something earlier in the year. I would compare them almost to the duo of like Tyler, the Creator, and Frank Ocean. When they get together, you know it's going to be something incredible. But it's a really nuanced and subtle album. It's got some really blissful moments. And honestly, I've seen people describe it as a. I saw a YouTube comment once that said, "This album sounds like Blade and Echo were exploring each other's bodies in the studio, but it's kind of fire." It's truly queer music, but it's unbelievably good. So I would say my favorite tracks on here: "The Flag Is Raised," "Yes Is Red Cross," and "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" are probably the big standouts on here. Now, here is finally, we're talking rap albums. This is going to be my favorite rap album of the year so far. Not so far, of the entire year. This is Ramona Park Broke My Heart by Vince Staples. This is my number 4 favorite album of the year. I have been pretty adamant in saying that every time Vince Staples drops an album, it's the best album of the year. As far as rap goes. And unfortunately, Kendrick has had the horrible misfortune and shit luck of releasing an album every single year Vince Staples drops an album. And every single year, the Kendrick one gets more acclaim, and the Vince Staples one just kind of sits behind it, and only the people who know understand just how incredible of a rapper he is. I don't like this as much as something like Big Fish Theory, which I still think might be the greatest rap album of all time. But there's some amazing stuff on here. Actually, let me just put When Sparks Fly on. This song in particular, it's called When Sparks Fly. This is my favorite rap song of the year, besides United in Grief. Something is magic about this record. This song in particular. It's basically a tongue-in-cheek triple entendre. Every single lyric of this song is a triple entendre. On the surface, the first time you listen to this, it sounds like a love song. And then you realize, after you read it a few times, that it's not just about a girl, it's about a gun. It's like... Let me even get the lyrics up. His wordplay is unbelievable in this. So... Just like let it play for a sec. Oh my god. Okay, so like just the first fucking verse I'm gonna just like go back and read it. Like, she said, "Baby, hold me closely. Love it when you hold me. Know that I'm a real one. I don't do no ghosting. I know that you love me. You don't gotta show me off to the world. Please hide me from the police." Like, it sounds like he's talking about like someone saying something like romantic to him, and then that last bit, "hide me from the police," like that's about a gun, and then like it goes into like, I'm down for whatever, protective of you. I don't want to use protection with you, but the glove will keep you safe if you ever get loose. Like, that's like him saying like, the double entendre of like, okay, a partner, a sexual partner, the glove, a condom would keep you safe, from any diseases with other people. But he's also talking about like wearing a glove while holding a gun so that his fingerprints don't get on it if the gun ever like gets separated from him. How, like, the whole song, every single lyric is a double entendre about a gun and a woman. It sounds kind of objectifying in a way, but like it's really, really cool street poetry shit. And that's why I still to this day believe that Vince Staples is the greatest, one of the top 2 greatest rappers alive, up with No Name is also probably the other greatest rapper alive. And holy fuck, if No Name drops an album this year, it's over for everyone. No Name is unbelievable. But yeah. So that's my number 4 favorite album of the year. I would say When Sparks Fly, this one, Lemonade, and Rose Street are my favorite songs on this record. Those are the standouts. Yeah, his wordplay is unbelievable. Vince Staples really is just one of the best alive. I wouldn't. It'd be hard to suggest this as the first Vince Staples album because I think this is only his 3rd best album to date. I still think Big Fish Theory is again the best rap album ever made, and it's not even a rap album. Big Fish Theory is basically an electronic album with rapping on it. Actually, let me even fucking like. This is what Big Fish Theory sounds like. It's electronic music. This came out in 2017, but this is probably my 2nd favorite rap album ever. Again, up with No Name's Room 23 as my favorite rap album ever. And they're both modern. A lot of people, when they say greatest rapper alive and stuff like that, they kind of say it with like caution because of like Biggie and Tupac and stuff. But like, honestly, I think if they were alive, they wouldn't have. I do not need to speak on this. I think they would have flopped by now. Let's be honest. But moving on to what comes next on here. Oh my god. I actually thought I might have had this as number 1. Okay, we're on the top 3 now. Let me get the next record up. This is Being Funny in a Foreign Language by the 1975. This is legitimately one of my favorite fucking bands in the world. I know they had a really, really unique place in like Tumblr culture in like 2013 probably. Like 2013, 2014. Just an excellent pop band. Who they started as this pop band. That name is such a mood for me. Yeah, well, the funny thing is they don't even sound like the 70s. They sound like the 80s, which is really funny to me. At least some of their stuff. This album actually has a bit more of a vintage 70s kind of sound to it. It's got a kind of funkiness to it, especially this song. The cool thing about this record, I'll actually get to it. So their evolution as a band has been pretty incredible because their first 2 albums were very much like 80s, kind of like pop vibes with a little bit of like funk thrown in, and the first album actually had like a couple pop punk tracks on it, which are excellent. They actually, before they were the 1975, they were called Drive Like I Do, and they were just like a Fall Out Boy pop punk kind of sounding band, like everything, but they've gotten more nuanced and poppy since. But They're excellent. And then their third album, which I still think is one of the best albums of the decade. It's called A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. Took things in a totally experimental direction, and they started doing these crazy experiments with like electronic music and more punk influences, more like art pop influences, and just like really obscure shit. There were like UK garage tracks on there. There was like a dream pop track. Their fourth album, which came out in 2020, is called Notes on a Conditional Form. And that one started with a 6-minute long ambient spoken word piece spoken by Greta Thunberg about climate change. And then the second song that it cuts right into is a hardcore punk song. And then the third one is an orchestral song. The fourth one is a garage song. The fifth one is a country song. They're the craziest, most like experimental pop band in the world right now. But this new album, Being Funny in a Foreign Language, strips things back into that like chamber pop, indie pop, funk territory again. In the best of ways, because as opposed to just being this sterile pop production like their stuff was in 2013, they decided to record everything on this album on analog hardware. So this was all like tape machines, reel-to-reel, like analog tube-based hardware. And it really, really shows in how warm and like crisp the production is. I'm in love with this album. And it's short too. The album they put out in 2020 was like 20 songs long. It did feel a bit too long. It still made my list. I still loved that album, but it felt a little too long, which was unfortunate, and a little inconsistent. This album is very consistent. I don't even know how to get into this. It's just very to the point. It felt like they were going a little too far off track, and now they're finally kind of back in a good spot where they're having fun writing good, catchy pop music again, but the lyrics are still poignant. Like, their old music was very much just like sugary pop lyrics, but a song like this one, Looking for Somebody to Love, similar to the Vince Staples song, is not the love song it seems that it is on the surface. It's about the epidemic of mass shootings and like incels, basically. You know, the first verse, you know, the hook of this song is like, oh, I'm looking for somebody to love, I'm looking for somebody to love. But the verses are about like an incel, like somebody running through the field, somebody should have stayed home, somebody's picking up the body of somebody that they were getting to know, somebody lacking in desire, the type you just don't want to fuck, a supreme gentleman with a gun in his hand looking for somebody to love. Like, it's not a love song, it's a commentary on how fucked up of a society. Please do not post Tomo on society right now. I'm being very serious about how fucked up of a society we live in, though. Like, it's Matty Healy's wordplay is unbelievably poignant, and that's why I think the 1975 are such a good band, because they can write songs like this under the guise of catchy Tumblr girl pop music. And that's what I love so much about this fucking band. That's what I love so much about this band, and that's why I think this is one of my favorite albums of the entire fucking year so far. Not so far. 2022 is over. This is one of my favorite albums of the year. I actually thought I might have put this at number 1, but I didn't, because there are 2 other ones I've been revisiting a lot. So, at the number 2 spot, this might surprise some people, because a lot of people might think that this one's going to be number 1, but it's not. At number 2, Plasma by Perfume. A lot of people know I am like the biggest fucking Perfume fan in the world. Not actually true at all, actually. There are some real fucking crazy people like Perfume, I'll be honest. But I do really, they're my favorite band, like, without a doubt. Which is crazy that I am not putting them at number 1, because every year that they've released an album besides Future Pop, I've put it at my favorite album of the year. So we got a surprise for number 1, but for now, talking about Perfume, they had a bit of a lull. I did not like the last album as much. It's grown and come back around to me. I do like it and appreciate it for what it is now. It was called Future Pop. It came out 4 years ago in 2018. I like it. I didn't love it, and it didn't feel as innovative or futuristic as a lot of their previous albums have. Plasma, on the other hand, this new one, absolutely does. It sees them expanding into new territories. Like this song, for instance, is kind of a city pop song, or like a chill, like neo Shibuya-kei lounge pop song. And their songwriting is as strong as it's ever been. I genuinely think this is like their second or third best album, next to like Triangle and honestly Level 3. I know a lot of people would probably say Game is their favorite, which I would say Game's probably my fourth. I don't really know. It kind of changes a lot. Game is an album that changed my life. There's no denying that. But I really like this album a lot. I really, really like this album a lot. Perfume feels good to listen to. Gotta listen to more of this album. Oh yeah, for sure. It's a really, really enjoyable album. Smooth front to back. It's got this really, really fun kind of almost 80s vibe to a lot of it. But it's still, they wouldn't be able to make something like this in the 80s. It's got a very like modern, crisp, futuristic, smooth sound to it. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, I didn't give recommendations for the last album. My favorite songs on Christ, before we get back to the Perfume stuff. My favorite tracks on the 1975 album, Oh Caroline, Part of the Band, and Wintering are probably, no, Happiness. Christ, I love all of the songs. Happiness, Part of the Band, and Oh Caroline are my favorite songs on that record. Moving on to the Perfume album again. Yeah, it really struck me as crazy when they dropped Polygon Wave in 2020, and it was as good as I thought it was going to be. Or was it 2021? I don't remember anymore. But regardless, they really surprised me, just coming back out of nowhere from their worst album to date to possibly one of the best. So yeah, I would say best tracks on here, my favorites anyway, Polygon Wave, Driving in the Rain, and Hatenabito are probably my favorite ones. Although, again, every single song is so fucking good on this album. There are no skips at all. It is that good. So yeah, I would give my number 2 favorite album of the year to Perfume's Plasma. And finally, for the final number 1 favorite album of the year, Dawn FM by The Weeknd. I think it also kind of tracks because a lot of people also know me as like a really crazy Weeknd fan, but I think they would also probably know that I did not really feel super strongly about his last 2 albums, After Hours and Starboy. I really, really like his old stuff the most. I think House of Balloons, Thursday, and Echoes of Silence, the trilogy mixtapes, those are 3 of the most incredible albums ever made, as well as his proper debut album, Kissland, is maybe my favorite album of all time. But I wasn't crazy about a lot of the stuff after that. At least I am, but like I don't feel as strongly like greatest album of all time material about fucking Starboy or After Hours. This one though, if you like fucking Daft Punk, if you like The Midnight, if you like Giorgio Moroder, if you like anything like that, this is the fucking album. The crazy thing about this is, this album performed like shit. I know that The Weeknd is considered like the biggest pop star in the world right now. His last album, After Hours, is the one that's still doing numbers, and more particularly a compilation album called The Highlights that he has is the one that's like actually doing the numbers right now. Still, like the Blinding Lights and all those songs, those are from the album before this. There is not a pop song on this album that has actually like hit the radio, and it's fucked up because these all could be pop songs. I think it's just the fact that he dropped this with little to no promotion at all. But oh my god, every single year, or every single like month this year, I have still gone back to this album, and this came out over a year ago. This came out like January 7th, 2022. I still listen to this album all the time. I have it on vinyl. This isn't even the album cover properly next to me. There's another album cover where it's like him as an old man. I think it looks like dog shit. I bought the special edition vinyl specifically because it has this cover instead of the shitty old man cover. But it's a concept album about... It actually puts into perspective his last album that I didn't like much, Blinding Lights, with the album with Blinding Lights, After Hours. It is a concept album. And these two albums tie into each other. After Hours is about a night out in Vegas gone wrong where he ends up fucking dying at the end of the album and bleeding to death. And this album is about his journey to purgatory. This album cover here is his journey to the light, to death. And there's going to be a third one. He's confirmed already. He's recording it right now. Probably about the afterlife. But this one is sequenced as a radio that plays in a car on the road to the afterlife, and it's narrated by Jim Carrey, of all people. So like the first song on here, Dawn FM, it's just fucking Jim Carrey doing this cringe ass. It's literally like a radio broadcast. The whole album, every song transitions into the next song. And it's like a radio broadcast on like the transition to the afterlife. And it ties into the concept of the last album. Even the Blinding Lights song. Blinding Lights, whatever you think Blinding Lights is about, it's not what it's about. Blinding Lights in the concept of, or in the story of these concept albums, Blinding Lights is about being in an ambulance, and the blinding lights are the flashing lights coming from outside of the ambulance. The song before that on the album, on After Hours, let me find it real quick. Forget what the song's called, because like the end of it is, it's called Faith. At the end of Faith, Faith is about like him getting in a car crash, and I ended up in the back of a flashing car. The lights are blinding me once again. It's about like dying basically, and Blinding Lights is about like being in the back of an ambulance. And then the final song on After Hours, The Source, the lyrics are, "This part you have to do on your own." And then the first line on Dawn FM is, "This part I do alone." So it all ties into each other. It's fantastic. It is so fucking unbelievably underrated, and it's really weird to say that about the world's biggest pop star, but the fact is, this album did not go #1. This did not chart. There is not a radio single on this album. He's been trying because he didn't promote it, but he didn't promote it because he dropped it like 2 weeks after he finished it because he just wanted the fans to have it because the pandemic years were so fucked up. Makes sense. The lighting in a lot of the promo, I think the music video reminded me of Police Lights, but ambulance. Yeah, so that's the thing too. If you watch the music videos that were released in the chronological release order, every single music video continues to tell the same story. The Heartless music video is just about him partying and having fun in Vegas. The Blinding Lights video is him getting all fucked up and his face gets in bandages, and Save Your Tears is the bandages coming off and his face looks all fucked up in like plastic surgery, like handsome Squidward. And then like the final music video from that era is him dying. So Dawn FM, all of it is about like, all the music videos from this are like him in like this nightclub in the afterlife, basically. It's really cool when you follow the story along, but that's why this is my favorite, not just why this is my favorite album of the year, but it's part of it. And the main part is just that the songs are so well written. They're so unbelievably well produced. They transition into each other. There are just these incredible transitions between every song. So like, this is the End of the Tale by Quincy thing, which is an interlude that Quincy Jones, and then it just goes right into Out of Time. Also, really cool thing. Out of Time samples a city pop song by Tomo, which is really cool. It's called Midnight Pretenders. It's a really classic city pop song, Japanese song from the 80s. Really cool shit. But every song, Out of Time, and then it transitions right into Here We Go Again, which has a Tyler the Creator guest verse, which is really, really good. Tyler the Creator once again finally comes on to the track and raps openly about his sexuality, which is like really cool because I love that character arc for Tyler the Creator, and I really hope he drops another album about being gay this year. That'd be really good. That'd be really, really good. His pattern shows that he usually does. But yeah, every song on this album transitions into each other. And then the final song is just like, all right, your time's up. Like, come on, we gotta usher you in. Like, this is heaven. Let me show you. It's fucking great. And this song, like, the electric piano on this is like actually really like heartbreaking sounding. Listen to this. Also, Jim Carrey fucking kills it. But yeah, like it's really incredible of an album. I'm actually just gonna leave it on playing, and we're gonna talk about the games now. Let's talk about games, shall we? I don't want to talk too long about this stuff. But yeah, there were some good ass games that came out this year. I would say I have to really look and think. But there were 3 games in particular this year that really stuck out and still stick out to me. So I would say my number 3 favorite game of the year was I don't have pictures for this, by the way. Should I pull pictures up or something? I don't know what to do. Whatever, it don't matter. My number 3 favorite game this year was Gundam Evolution. I think Gundam Evolution was an incredible game. I did the beta test back in April, and it really stuck out to me because, especially at that time, we were all, and I say we, I mean gaming community as a whole, for the most part, was saying they were going to boycott Overwatch 2. See how well that fucking turned out, assholes. Everyone was like, yeah, we're boycott Overwatch 2. Abusive CEO and abusive developers and all that shit. And then November rolls along and everybody's chilling in the Cosby suite. But Gundam Evolution, to me, felt like the proper evolution of Overwatch. It was this unique, new, but familiar and similar take on the Overwatch style with a infinitely more iconic franchise. You know, I know that a lot of the Overwatch characters are beloved. There's no fucking way that in any universe, Tracer is a more iconic character than fucking Char Aznable in the Zaku 2, especially when you consider Japan. You know, Char Aznable is bigger in Japan than Darth Vader is in America. You know what I mean? It's that big of a deal. So pairing up an even more timeless franchise with almost 50 years of history, put that up against dipshit Overwatch's like 4 years on the map. You know what I mean? But but yeah, so I would say Gundam Evolution. That would be my number 3 game of the year. I'm really, really upset that the player base is dying off because everyone just went to Overwatch, and now people are dissatisfied with Overwatch 2 finally again, and they're not seeing that there is a better alternative. It just needs a higher player count to really survive, and they're not doing much to like help advertise it. So it's kind of a shame, but oh well. Let me think. What else? Number 2. My number 2 favorite video game this year was not necessarily a standalone game, but I would say Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak. Sunbreak, just it really brought me and a lot of friends together. I became such good friends with so many people because we would just play Sunbreak together. Monster Hunter Rise, but it's kind of cheating. It released earlier on Switch. Yeah, that's why I'm saying Sunbreak. Thanks for the 2 for Tarv. The Laments of the non-AAA Gamer. Yeah, no, for real. There's a lot of indies that came out this year that I really wanted to try, but I never got around to because there's just so little time anymore for games and stuff. And I think streaming has finally been able to give me a chance to play games again, and feel like I have time and like a reason to play them. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Sunbreak just brought me and a lot of people together. I ended up becoming such good friends with so many people because we would just play Sunbreak together all the time, and it means a lot to me as a game anymore. And it honestly, it feels like the best Monster Hunter game since 4 Ultimate, because of just how good it is and how future focused it was. You know, all the evolutions it made in the way that the series has been played. You know, the music is so loud. Hold up. It made a lot of innovations in the way that you play Monster Hunter, just with the wire bugs and the palamutes. Like, those are, to me, necessary features for the next game going forward. The babies who cry about, oh, it's too fast, it needs to be slow like World. No, it doesn't. World sucks. Shut up. World doesn't suck. It's not a Monster Hunter game. It is a spin-off. It's as much of a Monster Hunter game as God Eater is. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing. And Rise felt like, specifically Sunbreak, felt like the proper evolution of what Monster Hunter can be. The open areas, but also like new ways to play the game. I hope wire bugs stay forever. I really do. If they don't at least bring the palamute back, it's got to be one or the other, but I think wire bugs, to some capacity at least, you don't have to call them wire bugs, but if you have to, just make it a clutch claw that doesn't suck ass. Just like, you can call it the clutch claw again, make it function like the wire bug, exactly like the wire bug, you know? Monster Hunter Rise with Monster Hunter World graphical upgrade is all I ask for. Literally, that's what I want from Monster Hunter Paradise, or whatever the next one's going to be called. Just give me world visuals with Rise mechanics. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Oh god, yeah, the Shaladara is so good in Rise. Oh my god. But yeah, I would say Rise is my second favorite game of the year, and obviously, like pretty much everyone else in the world, my number one is it's Elden Ring. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I think Elden Ring is a flawed game. I still think it would have been better if it was like 2/3 the length it currently is. If they just cut a third out of it, it would have been a better game. But still a goddamn good game. I just think it has really shitty balance issues, and From Software, they're too pussy with the way that they treat their community, and they're afraid that like the gatekeepy community is gonna like not buy their games if they don't like adhere to like them and making the balance changes that they've been making to like make the game ultra hard and I don't know. It needed more boss variety for sure. Was hoping it was Tetris. Hi, Honor. How are you? But yeah, I mean, that's for me. I think Elden Ring has a lot of flaws, but overall, I was watching my brother play it 2 days ago. I was over at his house watching him play it. He was he just got to Farah Missoula, and just watching him play that and like hearing and I've been watching Freya Amari play it as well. I've been watching her streams of Elden Ring. It's her first time playing it. And just hearing like the background music in that game has made me really nostalgic already for like, I don't want to say this time last year because it came out in like late February, but like makes me nostalgic for like when the game came out. Like it was a special time, I think. It was so good. Is there a game last year that you didn't expect to like but did? Let me think. I'm gonna look real quick. Let me like look up 2022 games, because I'm trying to remember. There weren't a lot of games that even really came out last year. That because again, Elden Ring scared everything away to this year. Um, oh, I guess Bayonetta 3 would probably be my number 4. Bayonetta 3 was quite good. Is there a game last year I didn't expect to like but did? I haven't played Sonic Frontiers yet, but I feel like I will like Sonic Frontiers when that comes out, or when I finally get around to playing it. I'm babbling about at this point. I really want to try Sonic Frontiers. Because I think everyone was afraid that that was not going to be great and everyone was going to dislike it. Because yeah, there's a few games that came out last year that I still need to play. Like I still need to play Frontiers. I still want to play Ghostwire Tokyo. I still want to play Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I still want to play Neon White. I should probably play Legends Arceus. I guess Splatoon 3 I was expecting to not be super into. And I ended up getting quite into it a bit already, but not as much as I still think, I was in 1 and 2. In a way, I mean, I talked shit about Overwatch 2 a little while ago. I did play a little bit of it just to play with some people, and a little bit on my own as well, and I liked it a little bit more than I thought I was going to, but ultimately, I think after a week, it got fucking stale as shit again. Is there a game that you didn't think the quality and hype was worth the cost? Yeah, most AAA games. That would go directly to Pokemon Scarlet, which is the version I played. The quality and hype was not worth the cost. I would say also pretty much most AAA games. I mean, even fucking Splatoon 3 isn't really a $60 game. It's kind of just a glorified Splatoon 2 expansion pack with less content. I grill Overwatch for the same stuff, but at least the core gameplay loop of Splatoon is still fun, whereas I haven't gotten much enjoyment from Overwatch at all. Whereas, again, Gundam Evolution did for me what Overwatch used to. Let me look through my Steam as well. Because there were definitely games I played for the first time last year that didn't necessarily come out last year, but like are still excellent. For instance, I played Subnautica for the first time last year. Yeah, Overwatch was at least free, and here's the thing, if Overwatch costed like 20, 30, if Overwatch costed any amount of money, I wouldn't have played Overwatch 2. Or what I mean is, if Overwatch 2 cost any amount of money, I would not have played it. I only played it because it was free, because there was no fucking way that I was going to give Blizzard money. And frankly, I didn't want to give them attention either, so that's why I stopped playing and went back to Gundam. What about you, Honor? What was your favorite like game or anything last year? Look at what else. I don't know what else I played for the first time last year. Not a lot. I mostly revisited a lot of favorites last year. I finished up Endwalker and played a lot of like Street Fighter and stuff. I replayed Dragon's Dogma, and I started playing more Dragon Quest, and I played Skyrim, and there really weren't a lot of games last year, whereas this year, we're going into month 2, and there's already a shitload of good games coming out, This month alone, we got Dead Space, which I don't think I'm going to play, but, like, I remember loving the first Dead Space. Next month, we have Yakuza Ishin, which I've been waiting forever for. I've been waiting 10 years for that fucking game, because it came out in Japan in 2013 or 14, I think. 2023 video games. I deleted my Blizzard account years ago over Blitzchung. Then again, was on Mastodon in 2019. Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, like, Blizzard sucks ass. But yeah, not even the first half of this year, we're getting fucking Tears of the Kingdom. We're getting Starfield. We're getting Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, fucking Redfall. I'm about to name more games, Resident Evil 4 Remake, but, like, those 5 games I listed, there's more shit than I played last year. I think One Piece Odyssey just came out. Silk Song is apparently coming out this year. Atomic Heart is finally coming out. They're making a new fucking SpongeBob game that's not going to suck ass. That's really funny to say. That's not a sentence I ever thought would come out of my mouth. But apparently that one SpongeBob game was really good. Fucking System Shock. They're remaking System Shock. That's coming out in March. Yakuza Ishin. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is coming out this year. Fucking Arc Raiders is coming out this year. There's so much good shit coming out this year. 2022 had nothing. This year has everything, because everything was scared of Elden Ring. I have no copium, but still, yeah, I don't have copium too. At this point, if you're not going to give me Hollow Knight Silksong, at least give me the DLC for the first game that you promised. Because Silksong came out of them making Hornet playable in the first game, and then they were like, actually, we're going to make a full game instead. Just give me Hornet at this point if you're going to make me fucking wait. Age of Wonders 4 got announced for May. I don't know what Age of Wonders is. What's that? Let me look at that up. Is this like an RTS thing? Looks gorgeous. The gameplay looks like the graphics look gorgeous. Oh, fucking Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out in August, you know? That's valid. Monster Hunter Rise is my favorite AAA game. I think it's my favorite game. I think my favorite game was At Home Alone Final as an indie game. I've never heard of that either. Let me look that up. At Home Alone Final? Oh, this looks pretty. This looks like, oh, there's like a hanging fox in it. This looks like a combination of like Little Misfortune and like, what's the one game I'm thinking of? Like Yume Nikki or something like that? One of those types of games. There's a ton of DLC that I love. I forgive Team Cherry because they're small. Oh yeah, it's like two dudes. Like I forgive them. It's still just like, at least if you're two dudes, at least have a little bit of like communication with your fucking fan base though. Famous strategy game, the first PC game I ever bought. Wow. Baldur's Gate 3, turn-based, like 1977 or 1997 or so. Damn. I'm afraid of the hype for Silksong and Breath of the Wild 2. I'm terrified of Breath of the Wild 2. I'll be really honest about that. I'm terrified of it. I'm absolutely terrified of it. Yeah, I'm afraid of if it's gonna be not worth the hype, but I think any new Zelda game will at least have charm to it, even if it's not gonna be worth the hype. I think it has a lot to live up to in terms of other open world games that have come out since. And frankly, every open world game has a lot to live up to. Xenoblade Chronicles X, baby! Yeah, baby! I love Xenoblade X. I want Xenoblade X 2. That's my biggest copium. I want either a Xenoblade X port or Xenoblade X 2 straight up. As long as they meet their predecessors, they're golden. They don't need to surpass. Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's a single developer game, like 2 to 3 hour gameplay at most. It's time loopy, so if that's not your thing, be warned. Oh, that's cool. I don't mind time loopy stuff. Deathloop was actually one of my favorite games last year. No, 2021. That was 2021. Jesus Christ, that was 2021. Holy shit. Time is a flat circle. Yeah, Deathloop was great though. I enjoyed that. It's not my favorite Arcane game. Obviously, that's Prey, which, by the way, we're going to be playing Prey Mooncrash tomorrow, which I'm super excited for because I've never played Mooncrash more than an hour. And I love Prey. But yeah, that's pretty much my feelings. What about everyone else? How do y'all feel about music, and how do y'all feel about games? What are your favorites of 2022? Let's talk. Don't break my heart. I mean, we got everyone said Monster Hunter. I think that's a pretty big one. Ooh. The kombucha I'm having today is actually good. The one I had yesterday was so terrible. I like had to like force myself to finish it. It was foul. Oh my god. I don't mind more Hollow Knight. I love that game, but more of the same Breath of the Wild, I will get bored. I think Breath of the Wild 2, my biggest expectation for it is that I hope it has real dungeons. I don't want them to do just like, oh, here's Breath of the Wild 2, here's 4 more Divine Beasts. Do not give me that, Nintendo. I did not wait 5 years. 5 years? Holy shit, it's been 5 years. No, 6. That's math. 6. Holy shit. I don't need 6 years for 4 more divine beasts. Give me 8 temples. 8 proper temples is what I waited 6 years for. The exploration is good though. I could easily do the exploration again as long as the world is different enough. Could be a glorified DLC. I don't think it'll be a glorified DLC though, because I have copium. Let's say I have copium for it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's pretty much the awards this year. I'm really happy I finally got to do this and finally got this shit off my chest because it's really been stressing me out. But anyways, let me think. We're gonna find somewhere to raid to. Please stick around for the raid lurkers just to keep the numbers up so I don't get freaking embarrassed. But yeah, we're gonna find somewhere to raid into real quick. If you have our emotes, you can use these ones. And thank you everyone for coming out tonight. And hanging out and telling me about your favorite stuff. Oh, thank you, Honor, being right on it with the non-emote raid message. So yeah, please stick around. We are gonna raid into, let's see, who is live. Oh, Jin's live. I never get to raid Jin. Can we raid Jin? I think we're gonna raid Jin. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to hang, everybody. I really appreciate everyone coming out, talking, listening to me babble for a little bit. Oh, she's playing Elden Ring too. I love Elden Ring. Thank you for the head pats, Yobri. So yeah, let's go hang out with Jin. Thank you everyone for coming and hanging out and keeping me company tonight and making me not feel like I'm talking to a wall. It was really nice discussing all this stuff with everybody. Alrighty, we're gonna head out. Alrighty. Thank you guys. We will be back tomorrow playing Prey Moon Crash, which is really, really fucking exciting because Prey is one of my favorite games ever. So I haven't played the DLC for it really. So we're gonna start it from scratch and get into it. So I'll be back tomorrow, same time as ever. Good night, everyone. Bye.